What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Guys, I know we haven't been on this week so far, and it's not a vacation time. It's called No Cowboy News time. But
sick child.
yeah, we did have my daughter was also, kind of under the weather, but she's feeling better now, and we can focus on this. But even we could have thrown out a quickie out there this week to give you the top 10 list of this or that. We'll just do it all tonight, along with the major news, which are the updates on the contracts for 3 of our star players. You see 3 of the 4 on the screen right now, 1 injured guy with Trayvon Diggs. We'll give you the updates on all these guys and more as we are around the corner here, just one last weekend away from training camp, where we find out who's who here for this 2024 Cowboy team. But of course, the biggest clown of them all, Stephen Jones, spoke today and kind of gave us maybe a little more insight in what's going on with these contracts or not going to happen with these contracts.
Yeah,
we'll discuss that tonight.
You to see how comfortable you feel with his response.
We'll discuss about that and a lot more here. But first, we got to open this thing up and shout out those that make the world go around here on the MyCowboysFamily / MCF After Dark worlds. So big shout outs to our king of the Cash App and the sponsor of the week, not once but twice, back to back. Just like our 90s Cowboys, it's the man from Australia repping that star for everything, LC, a.k.a. Lincoln Kane. Big shout out
to Mr. LC.
Yes.
Appreciate him for his representation there on the boards. And speaking of representation, you also have to give him a hollow to Marco Seppian, bossing that stream around fully loaded with 100 points.
All the way from Hawaii, and he's repping that. We got stars been repped in Australia and Hawaii and across the world, the globe, and of course all through America's team. So big shout out to Marco Seppian, Lincoln Kane, and Jet Lee 44, who's still holding on tentatively to that gifted membership, championship, because we haven't really determined a winner from last week yet. So it's a tie right now. And again, it's up to anybody drops two gifted memberships. You will be the champion this week. So that's a chance for Mr. Jet Li to go 9 out of 10 weeks in a row. I know he's 8 out of 9. Will he go 9 out of 10? He's not on the board. But right now is a tie for the top spot with the man that stays skeptical fan. If he drops a membership here before anybody else, he wins it. Brandon J, he drops a membership here, gifts a membership. He wins it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll have a winner today. We'll see what happens. And if anybody drops 2 memberships outside of those 2 names, then they automatically win it. That's how we're going here tonight at My Cowboys Family. So big, and you can see the tie up there with Skeptical Fan for this week and Brandon J, both with 1 gifted membership, and Jet Li, won it. He's been holding it down for a while. The last almost over 8 out of 9 weeks. That's domination. So big shout out to you guys there, Marco Seppi, of course, Stream Boss, and Lincoln Kane. He's not only got it for 1 week or 2 weeks, he's also in the lead right now for the 3rd straight week, both in the Cash App and the sponsor of the week. So the man ain't messing around. LC from Australia, go check out his channel, sub it up to him. But Lincoln Kane, he is currently in 1st place across the board. But you're not the only guy to speak of here, because you're like, we didn't go live. How is anybody in the lead? We had our After Dark shows, and like 2 or 3 of them. And there's some people on the list. You can see the leaderboard is already kind of set up. Some people also in the memberships. By the way, let me shout out the memberships first. MJ Fontes, big shout out to you. Traveling Fools, Darren Posey, Walter Williams, you 4 are in that navy blue crew, along with Roy Strasner, Alpha Male Pimp. Now, Tammy Soltisa, I know she was last week. But we also have Der Lunatic, who's back in that star level membership. Big shout out to the man, the Lunatic, the Godfather here.
Geez.
Yeah, so big shout out to him. And everybody else in the navy blue crew, the silver level 2. And of course the top shelf memberships like that star and over everything levels. But we're gonna get to the shout outs in a minute here. I want to make sure we also shout out those on the After Dark session who dropped a little love. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, Pat Pfeiffer, Dave B, Harley Dad, of course the man LC, Lincoln Kane. You got Dark Raven, you got Queefy, you guys know who that is. Arkansas, KL, Ready Red representing with us After Dark, Grateful Nomad, Marissa Sparkle star level membership there, Arkansas, I don't know if I mentioned her already. We have Miko also from Australia, and McLovin. So a lot of people on that board already repping that star here on this side over everything as well. So thank you all on all those, the After Dark sessions, whether it's part 1, our main After Dark, part 2, or of course here on My Cowboys Family. So enough of me. Just want to shout out a couple ways to drop the love on this channel, be on the boards, to get on the board there on the overall leaderboard, and also maybe get a crown or two. You never know, and win some championships here on this channel. So, baby, there's of course the super chats. You, of course, have the thanks button, which is for any video already posted or live stream posted already. But then you have of course, jumping in the memberships. I shouted out a whole bunch of people that are just back in the memberships, Navy, Blue, Silver, Star, over everything. And, of course, gifting memberships. That's the YouTube side. There's 4 other ways you can help support the channel when it comes to that Cash App crown. And a lot of people, most of the people you heard me shout out for the After Dark, they use these methods of dropping the love. Baby, what are they?
You have, of course, the Cash App, money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and of course, last but not least, that Streamlabs link. It lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
Big shout out for all that do that. Lincoln Kane in the lead on all those boards right now. And of course, you got the gifting side of things and all that good stuff. But there's also, the star level and over everything level membership monthly jersey raffle, which we do every month. Of course, the next one will be probably the beginning of August sometime. We're already in the first week of training camp, but we will have the month of July done at the beginning of August. And of course, sewn and stitched jersey, your choice, many different players, old and new, even Tyler Guyton. Our first, we didn't have rookies before, but now we got rookies even, or at least one rookie right now, and Tyler Guyton, number 60. So a lot of styles to choose from, players to choose from now, and of now. Superstars of now, Hall of Famers to be, and of course all pros, Hall of Famers of old. So again, a lot to choose from here, and only the people in the star and over everything are in this raffle at the end of the month. But there's also the weekly winners, like right now LC stacking them up, getting some bonus raffle entries by winning these weeks in July. So he'll be added in there for a couple extra entries to maybe win another jersey. He's been rocking it over there. So appreciate Mr. Lincoln Kane and everybody in these level memberships. Speaking of, it is Fan Friday. And we also, every night we shout out when we go live. We always shout out the star and over everything level. But every Fan Friday, we always shout out that silver level too.
That's right. And an extra special shout out to Mr. A. Lavelle.
Yes.
The longest running NCF member.
I think 48, 49 months right now. He's rocking that shit. Good job.
Some crazy
Much love
number.
to Mr. Lavelle in the silver level. Who else in the star and over everything?
Thank you very much to Skeptical Fan, Jetly44, Lincoln Kane, Marissa Sparkle, The Lunatic, and over everything, Seabass.
Hell yeah. Kicking ass, Seabass. And much love to him. And hopefully, maybe this Sunday, you might get a little appearance from Mr. Seabass here on My Cowboys Family. So we got that. We got more. We got, of course, the news, info, and updates to talk about. But before we do that, I want to get them shout outs. Who's in the house ready to talk about some Cowboy football here with us?
Shout out to Lil Dallas Cowboy, what's up? Asmodeus representing. Godless Manitoban, thanks for hanging with us here. Cowboys fan 1965, hello and hi. Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas. C. Bass, the legend himself. We have a big mahalo to Mark Hosepian in the chat. Aloha to you as well.
Mark Hosepian here, who made a run last week, right at the last second.
Tammy Soltis, thanks for being here. What's up? Hope you're doing well. Rolling it back a little bit. We have Revelation Journalist, hello and hi. Yeah, it's funny because I have to agree. I don't know if Stephen Jones is a Cowboys fan.
I don't know either. He's
Tough Man Off Grid, what's up?
He might like the Eagles because he likes that green.
Very true. Matt Persico, what's up? Hello and hi. Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical.
Always. Much love to Skeptical Fan. Freedom
First, hey, you were first this time. Good for you. Gregory Saunders, always. Let's go Cowboys. And then as more people continue to trickle in, I'll make sure to keep on giving their shout outs, just like El Cool. Hello and hi, saying Stephen Jones just about the money. Yep.
I'm just saying. Hate saying it, but I'm saying it.
He gets it from his daddy.
Old Jarrah Jones. You might see him pop in the chat tonight sometime. So as we get it rolling here, I guess let's just get into this because we got a lot of topics to discuss. And let me fix that. Okay, I think I'm fixing it. Let me see if I can fix this properly. There we go. We got a lot of topics to discuss tonight, even if they're quickies, and if they're little tidbits and little things here and there, some NFL news and more. So before we even get to the NFL side, let me get to a quick NBA thing, which always is relative somehow to the NFL in this situation if I'm mentioning it. Because, we have that quarterback show. If you guys watching the Netflix last year, this year they have the receivers show, which is fantastic. Well, if you like NBA, they're going to have they're going to have basically a similar show on Netflix following some of the basketball players here in the NBA. And they just announced Anthony Edwards is going to be a major star of the new NBA show on Netflix. They said that he's expected to be the breakaway act of Netflix's first NBA documentary series. Includes LeBron James, Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, and Domantas Sabonis. The show is modeled after Netflix NFL quarterback series. So again, like in the receiver series,
they won't be able to come up with as catchy of a name like point guard. But
no,
yeah.
They'll probably say superstar. It's probably what we call it. So we'll see what happens. I just want to throw that out there since I'll be watching it. I like a little basketball, but I like the way that, even if I don't like the sport, I still watch those shows. They make them really good, really interesting, really in depth. So that's I want to throw that out there. Now, some news behind the news in the NBA, in the NFL. Former Cowboy for like a year or two there, Randall Cobb, former NFL Pro Bowler, wide receiver Randall Cobb, played 13 years in the NFL, I think one with us, 10 years, of course, with the Packers, is joining the SEC network as a college football studio analyst. So now he's going into the studio booth there. Is he done with football? I mean, Cobb's going to appear on selected editions of the SEC Now throughout the fall, but the update initially was that he's retiring. Not so, actually. The update is Randall Cobb is not retired from playing football, still open to playing in the NFL if the right opportunity arises as he begins his broadcasting career. So, what kind of little Jason Witten-ish, I guess you can say, like there.
Not really sure the type of interest that might be out there for Randall Cobb in this current market.
Is he a T.Y. Hilton pickup later in the year for some team out there, like we did? We'll see. Who knows? Now, if you're watching the show Receivers, you'll see Justin Jefferson. Great receiver, obviously. We look at him because, unfortunately, we're still waiting for Stephen Jones to pay CeeDee Lamb, but we know Jefferson's getting $35 million per year average, and earned every cent of that, as CD should hopefully get that. But another congratulations for Viking superstar receiver Justin Jefferson. He's been, he basically is the father of his ex-girlfriend's baby, and I think he had to go to court and get a DNA test. And it has been ruled that he is the official father. He was accused of pressuring her to abort the child. So whether you agree or disagree, he had his choice on that, his thoughts on that, and she had the baby. So that's it. That's the way it goes. And I guess he didn't want to.
Congratulations, Daddy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's happy or not, but I guess it's his blood there. So hopefully he will do the daddy stuff, not just the paying part of stuff. So congrats to Justin Jefferson there on his child, even though I know it was not necessarily what he wanted at this time of his life. Some throwbacks going on out there. Some different uniforms. I know the Niners, I'm going to talk about them. They're going to go with an all-red kind of, not all-red, but they're red classic uniforms against us. I'll explain in a minute. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to throw on their new Prowler throwback uniforms. Basically, they just got, instead of the face of the Jaguar, they got the body of the Jaguar on the shoulder pads, and I think on the helmets too. Either way, they're going to wear that. They're going to debut them in Week 5 against the Colts. But it looks the same, guys. I'm telling you. The Jacksonville Jaguar uniforms basically look the same, except for it's not a Jaguar face, it's a Jaguar stretched out. And you've seen that logo before. It's been like an alternate logo they've used. So that's what they're going. That's their Prowler throwbacks. There you go. Must be from the early days when they first came into the league there about 25, 30 years ago. So they're going to be wearing that Week 5 versus the Colts. And by the way, I wanted to go back a couple days. July 15th, always a big day on the NFL calendar. But the deadline for franchise or transition tagged players hits on that July 15th, or hit on July 15th. This year, no drama for the 9 tagged players. Josh Hines Allen was extended. Brian Burns was traded and then extended. Kyle Duggar extended. T. Higgins signed to a tag no deal, which, by the way, hear a lot of rumors about us trying to get T. Higgins. I ain't gonna get into that because it's not gonna happen. Not yet, at least. No word, no real, true, substantive information about him coming to Dallas in any kind of trade. So don't believe the hype. T. Higgins not coming to Dallas yet, but he was signed on the tag, but there's still no deal extension for him. Jalen Johnson was extended. Justin Matabuki was also extended. Michael Pittman extended. L'Jarius Sneed was traded and then extended, and Antonio Winfield from the Bucks also extended. So no real, deadlines for tagged players this year. I do want to go back to the draft for a second. It's the Bears and their number 1 pick, quarterback Caleb Williams, has agreed on a new contract. He's getting this is the first overall pick of the draft. He got a 4-year, $39.49 fully guaranteed deal with a $25.5 million signing bonus. So again, the top pick of the draft fully is now officially signed as training camps are beginning. I think Houston Texans already opened up their training camp because they need the extra practice. You know how that goes. Now I think they also got that. I think they have the opening game of the year in the on the Hall of Fame game. So every team that's in that, both teams that are in that game get an extra week of training camp practice. Now we're gonna go over to the Niners, the hated F the Niners team, but got to talk about the fact that Brandon Ayuk from the Niners has officially requested a trade after an offseason of unsuccessful attempts to reach an extension with the Niners. Despite a recent meeting, maybe last week, the Niners have not been willing to engage any kind of contract negotiations or talks since May. So after all that time, since the last couple of months, Ayuk now said, I'm respectfully asking to get traded and get out of there. Now, I know it's going to be a Cowboy, but let's get him. Not happening. Brandon Ayuk is under contract for a little over $14 million this year. $14 million. The Niners survived a trade request from Deebo Samuel, in the past. They're going to see if they can, I guess, try to keep him on board. I doubt they will, but they're going to probably try. We'll see. The reality is, no trade done. We'll see if he gets extended at the end of this year or he's a free agent. Other teams have reached out and spoken to San Francisco about, trying to get a trade, done with Brandon Ayuk.
It seems like he is really going to end up getting the short end of the stick here.
Well, we know how that goes with some of our own players that we let them get to the end. We got 3 of them coming up, at least Dak coming up this at the end of this year. But just to get a little insight here, the Niners, after a lot of teams have contacted them, no intention of trading the disgruntled wide receiver, who officially, again, requested a trade, and the Niners open training camp like us next week sometimes. So, just a little background on the Ayuk situation. Now, what about kicker, baby? I know you really always into the kicker situation, but we just had a kicker signed for a lot of money. The Browns and their kicker, Dustin Hopkins, reached an agreement on a 3-year, $15.9 million extension. So basically $16 million, 3-year, $16 million deal for the kicker, which makes him one of the top 5 highest paid kickers. Hopkins now tied to Cleveland through the 2027 season. Highest paid kickers in the NFL on a per year basis. Justin Tucker, $6 million. Along with Jake Elliott, also $6 million. That's the top number there for a kicker. Matt Gay, 5.62. Graham Gano, 5.5. And then Dustin Hopkins is tied with Kai Fairbairn for $5.3 million per year. So my question only I'm bringing this up, and even this kind of detail is, are the Cowboys going to consider locking up Brandon Aubrey sooner than later? I mean,
it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. When you look at guys like Tucker and Jake Elliott, I mean, they're putting up the consistent type of points. That means that they earn that $6 million a year paycheck,
Oh, yeah.
So Brandon Aubrey is more than done that as well, at least for us. So
yeah. So, that's something I think we got to look into a little bit. I know he only had 1 year. It's a record-setting year. But, he'll have 1 more year. And then after that, we better start getting ready to pay this man. It might have to be between $4 to $6 million probably by the time it gets to it. So, but again, it's similar to Dak Prescott. He has all the leverage after providing stability to the Cowboys' kicking position there. That was on obviously big trouble before he arrived. So, again, Brandon Aubrey, go back. How did we sign him last year? Do you guys remember what we signed him for? 3 years, $2.69 million for all 3 years combined. So he's getting like a little under $1 million a year to kick for the Cowboys.
I thought it was like $1.5 million total. So it was $2.5 million.
Yeah.
There you go.
2.69 for 3 years though. So again, we got him for 2 more years. I'd say after this year, if he can put up another solid kicking year, I think that then you start thinking about extending him in his final year of his contract next year, and get a deal done with him. Somewhere between the $4 to $6 million range is my guess. But I would agree not to pay him right now that money when he had 1 great year, but we don't know what, kicker has 1 bad game and you never know what goes on from there. We've seen that with a lot of kickers.
Yeah, let's not pull Terrence Steele.
yeah. And rush to get a guy here for 5-10 years, overpaying him, and then, he misses a couple kicks, loses his streak or whatever, his mind and his consistency.
Yeah, and by the way, that's not even a knock on Terrence Steele, more of a knock on, again, our front office rushing into signing contracts before being sure. It seems like we only do it one of 2 ways. We either rush into contracts or we dilly-dally with contracts of guys that, we definitely should have signed.
It's like every team in the league must look at us and say,
what are they doing?
Well, I don't want to deal with that front office. I don't want to deal with that front office who's just playing hardball, and then I get my deal anyways, but it's a lot of like bad feelings left over. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening sometimes. With this upcoming CD situation, who knows with Micah? Who knows in the future? Who else? But with Dak, I don't know. I mean, Dak got his pay, right? But it took 3 years to get that. So a lot of I would say a lot of issues with the Cowboy front office, and I don't think any team's going to look at us and say, I want to go to play for them, because it's a big issue to get any kind of movement from the Cowboys, unless you're like a second tier guy, then you get paid. So it depends on where you sit. Now, kicking wise, I just think that yes. So in the future, I think after this year, Cowboys should consider maybe signing him to that a $4 million a year plus deal, possibly, right? So if he has another solid Pro Bowl type season. Now, finishing up a couple last little kind of pieces of news over the last couple of days of the NFL. The Ravens made another move here, and they signed two-time Pro Bowl safety Eddie Jackson from the Bears, reaching an agreement with the Ravens on a 1-year deal. He's a safety. He had 6 defensive touchdowns with the Bears. Now he's in Baltimore to add to their defense. So that's a good pickup by them. I don't know how many numbers on him, but that's a good pickup by them. The Broncos, they put up the big bucks for the big belly. Yeah. You guys know who the belly is? It's guard Quinn Mernez. And if you remember his name at all, Broncos standout guard. They agreed on a massive 4-year, $80 million deal.
Jeez.
And it makes him one of the highest paid guards in the NFL. The extension includes $45 million guaranteed. The belly, as they call him, he gets $24 million in the first year of this deal. He was a 2021 third rounder from D3 Wisconsin Whitewater. What? Who flew up the draft boards and then was signed in the third round, was drafted in the third round. Now is a top 5 paid guard. And the reason I'm mentioning him, because guess who will be signing next year? Possibly Tyler Smith. So he's going to be getting more than this number here. Again, $80 million for 4 years. You got $20 million a year average. But Tyler Smith, he'll get the $25 million a year average next year when they are allowed to finally work on his deal. So we'll see what happens with that. But the belly is off the he's extended in Denver. I don't care about the belly, about this player. I care about how it's going to affect the Cowboys. We know Zach Martin's finishing up here, but we got Tyler Smith we have to pay. And he's going to be over $20 million easy. $25 million, maybe more by next year. Something to think about there. And one last, I guess, free agent guy, but is he going to come back to Dallas? If I'm saying, is he going to come back to Dallas, you probably know what I'm talking about, and that's Stephon Gilmore. The latest, he actually spoke about the latest on his status about what his plans are in free agency and maybe joining the team this year, joining a team this year in the NFL. He said, quote, there are still some good corners and safeties out in the market, like Justin Simmons at safety and myself at corner, that still have not been signed. Honestly, I'm still being patient, staying ready until teams see what they have in training camp. But you mean to tell me that among 32 teams, there are 64 starting cornerbacks that are better than me? I don't think that. If teams want to win, I think they should sign the best players. I know I'm still a starter in this league. I started games last year, but the season doesn't start until September, so we still got a while. So again, Stephon Gilmore just going to wait what teams what they got in training camp, injuries, that they have needs, and then boom, he's waiting to get signed from that. I don't know if it's going to be us, but somebody who should sign him. I don't know if they're going to sign him for what he's asking for, but someone should definitely put out a little bit of love for him and bring him in, because I do agree with him. You want to win, you get the players. And he's good enough to be a starter on our team and move Bland to the interior with using more of Jordan Lewis as a specialty role. I think he'd be a good pickup for us for $6-7 million. He probably wants $10-12 million. Who knows? Or at least he did. Probably not anymore. But I don't see him, coming back to the Cowboys. The Cowboys have not even talked to him this entire offseason. So the probability is no Stephon Gilmore in Dallas, and he's going to wait out until training camp kind of gets going, see what teams need, and then think about maybe signing with a team then. So that's the Stephon Gilmore update. Let me give you an update with the first drop of love from the week here on My Cowboys Family, and it's from the one and only, the man, Mark Hosepian, all the way from Hawaii, repping that star for everything. He dropped that 1-2 J. Lou dollar holler. What did the man say?
I like ifs. If Jerry Jones pulls his head from his ass.
That's a big if, right? Because that head's been up that ass for a long ass time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, much love to Mark Hosepian with that $2 drop, kicking it off. I'm going to put him on that board. And we have a skeptical comment here from the star level comment. He gets a once a month comments here if you're in any of these membership levels.
So huge shout out to Skeptical Fan,
who, by the way, is in a tie right now. Yes, Skeptical's in a tie. Him and Brandon J are in a tie for the leader in gifted memberships. It's overtime right now. So if Skeptical or Brandon J or anybody, they drop one gifted membership, they're the winners. That's it. That's what it's going to take. But if anybody else drops 2, then they're the winners. That's the way it's going to break down. I want to hear what Skeptical Fan had to say about that star.
Can the Cowboys win another Super Bowl before MCF's beard turns all white?
you know what's fucked up, Skeptical? And I think he made a mention about this. I mean, I look at our shirt that he made us, the shirts that he made us. I see a nice, full, dark beard for me. Like, I look at my beard now, and I see barely any darkness. So, I don't know. I think that Skeptical is right. I mean, I think the
last few years as a Cowboy fan has taken a real toll.
Was it COVID or was it the Cowboys? I don't know. I think it's a combination of both. But I'm telling you, when we get there 12-5 3 years in a row and shit the bed in the playoffs, I'm going to get a lot of gray hairs. And that's what happened. In the last 3 years, and I've grayed out. I guess it's that silver and blue. Silver and navy blue. Much love, Skeptical. Much love to the man, Marco Sepien. Let me
I have to read these comments. You guys are cracking me up. 12 man off grid said, MCF, about time you shaved that nappy beard.
It's going to be trimmed, but I'm not shaving it yet. It's going to be trimmed for, in this week sometime, before training camp kicks off.
I like the beard, and happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's what, she's got control of the beard.
NFC, what's up? Thanks for being here. Double R representing.
Yeah.
Oh, saying Skeptical Fan, that will be a real race.
What was it? What did he say?
Basically, can the Cowboys win the Super Bowl before your beard turns all white? Yeah,
I think I already lost. By the end of this year, it'll be fully white, even if you win a Super Bowl. But hey.
Look, I don't care if they have to dye their hair every shade of the rainbow and wear little, honking clown noses. Please, just get it done however you need to.
You think this is going to be the year?
I mean, in the spirit of full honesty, no, but if you give, basically, like, everybody has a chance. Everybody gets to start over. So I can't completely dismiss us, even if I am not nearly as optimistic as I was in the last year or two.
Yeah, last bunch of years. And so, it is what it is, right? I mean, I'm with you. I hope we can get it done before that last gray hair pops out. Knocks out the black hair. So we'll see what happens. You can see me right here in this picture. I have less gray in this picture than I actually have now. So I mean, just saying, like, the grays keeps coming. They're not stopping. And Cowboys, you better do something about that. I said silver and navy blue, but it doesn't mean me turn into that. Anyways, guys, thank you all for dropping the love there for Marco Sepien, who's down to 99 points on the Stream Boss. And big shout out to Skeptical Fan with his message of the month. Now, I do want to talk about another number. I want to talk about number 8. Troy Aikman. We're in 8 years here in MCF on 8 seasons.
Great 8.
The greatest 8 of our history in Dallas is Troy Aikman. But right now, that number 8 is an issue in the sense of the legal side of things, because Lamar Jackson was also number 8, and Troy Aikman, who was number 8, they are fighting right now over the number 8 copyright. So of course we got Hall of Fame quarterback and Super Bowl 3-time Super Bowl champion Troy Aikman, versus Lamar Jackson, future Hall of Famer probably, 2 NFL MVP trophies. They're battling over the number 8. Now, I just want to say this: Troy Aikman, Lamar Jackson, they're fighting on the copyright issues related to trying to copyright the number they wore on the football field, which of course is 8. And both apparently hold legal protection over some form of the number.
Okay.
Most recently, Lamar Jackson opposed Aikman's attempt to use that 8 on apparel and bags, arguing that is, quote, likely to cause confusion or cause mistakes or to deceive the purchasing public as to whether or not they're buying products from Lamar Jackson or Troy Aikman. Now, of course, Aikman, it's going to be that navy blue and a star on it somewhere and that silver. Lamar Jackson will have that purple, the purple and black, I guess you could say from the it's a different color segment, right?
He really thinks his fans are dummies.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get confused. We ain't going to buy no damn Lamar Jackson shit. I don't care if it has number 8 on it. We'll know. We can have eyes. We see the color change on it. We know Aikman's not going to give no purple and black. And he don't care about trying. I don't think Aikman really cares about trying to use the Lamar Jackson 8. You know what I'm saying? But either way, the point is, Aikman followed for copyright for the number 8, and Lamar Jackson opposed this, I guess you could say, or tried to oppose it in the courts. Just so you guys know, Lamar Jackson, who filed this in the court system, said, quote, he has expended considerable time, effort, and expense in promoting and advertising and popularizing the number 8 in connection with his personality and his fame. Okay. That's his claim right there. He also said, quote, I'm well known by this number due to my notoriety and fame, along with my promotion of this number in my trademarks and media coverage. So that's where Lamar Jackson is sitting there. Now, of course, we know Troy Aikman has that beer brand known as 8. It's written out as 8, not the number 8, but it's the word 8. And Lamar Jackson, he sells, quote, Era 8, the number, Era, and then 8.
Okay.
Apparel. So these two 8s are floating around here. Now, Lamar Jackson's paperwork was submitted on July 9th. Aikman's appeal, because he appealed this, is due by, well, again, his appeal option. He's not appealed it yet, but he has till August 18th to appeal this. Depending on how things play out, it could make for an awkward production meeting when the Ravens appear on Monday Night Football, where, of course, Troy Aikman is the star analyst there. And that's going to happen October 21st. So a couple months, Aikman and Lamar Jackson, and they have a legal thing over their heads there. Of course, they also see Monday Night Football on November 25th with the Ravens. So those two times, we'll see if they get this thing figured out before then. That could be a little uncomfortable between both those guys. I wanted to add one last thing. Kind of came in late on this topic. But Troy Aikman said, quote, hey, Lamar, he tweeted this literally like a couple hours ago. Quote, hey, Lamar, looks like a worthy conversation over a couple of cold 8 beers. He said, maybe Steve Young can arbitrate, who's also number 8. That's funny. Troy Aikman, he's kind of having fun with this a little bit, so we'll see if it gets really serious or anger involved. I think it's more just maybe there's a differentiation
or
between both of these.
Maybe they could just come to some kind of mutual understanding where, they just kind of, let bygones be bygones, or find a way to make things like fair for both sides. I don't know. Like you said, conversation. Yeah.
Either way, it sounds like Aikman is the one who wanted to trademark the 8 first, right? Lamar Jackson fought it back. Now Aikman has the ability to appeal that. We'll see what happens. Now, I do want to go to the football side of things. Now, we talked about the NFL. We talked about outside things and the Cowboys. Let's talk about the Cowboys, all right? And look at each of the NFL team's best playoff accomplishment. Like, how good did the team do in the last 15 years?
Okay.
Now, you know what we did here. But in the last 15 years, which teams have won multiple Super Bowls? Only 2. The Patriots and the Chiefs. Who's won a Super Bowl in the last 15 years? Outside of Patriots and Chiefs, it's been one Super Bowl for the Saints, for the Packers, for the Giants, for the Ravens, for the Seahawks, for the Broncos, the Eagles, the Buccaneers, and the LA Rams. Which teams left won a conference championship? The best they've done in the last 15 years. The Niners, which means these teams have been to the Super Bowl and lost. The Niners, the Colts, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Carolina Panthers, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, which of these teams have won a divisional playoff game, meaning they played in the conference championship? The Jets, the Vikings, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Jaguars, the Tennessee Titans, the Buffalo Bills, and the Detroit Lions. We're not here yet. There's only 7 teams left on this list. Who's won a wild card game? The Texans, the Browns, the LA Chargers, and the Dallas Cowboys. And then which teams have won nothing when it comes to the playoffs, have not won a game in the playoffs? The Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Washington Commanders. So I'm just saying, we're at the bottom of this pile here, guys, unfortunately, in the last 15 years.
I mean, hey, not that surprising considering it feels like we've been at the bottom of the pile for almost maybe longer than that, but...
Yeah, I mean, listen, it has been longer than that. We haven't been back to a conference championship since... We haven't won a divisional round game, since 1996 season. So that is the killer right there for us. I'm talking about, I guess, the 95-96 season. But the point is, we have... you can go back farther for us, and, we'll even be worse on this list, unfortunately. Now, what about NFL teams who have been to the playoffs in each of the last 3 years? All right? And we're one of those teams, right?
Yeah, we are.
And so how many games have these teams won? Playoff games. for teams that have made the playoffs in the last 3 years. The Chiefs have won 9 playoff games in the last 3 years. The Niners have won 6 playoff games.
Okay.
The Bills have won 3 playoff games. The Bucks and the Eagles have won 2 playoff games in the last 3 years. And the Cowboys, are the only team left on this list, have won 1 game after making the playoffs for 3 straight years. Now, all these other teams have won 2, 3, 6, 9. We've won 1. And that was against the Buccaneers to then lose the following week to the Niners. So just the whole combination of all these things is just not good for the Cowboys. For the last literal 28 and a half years. We're getting to 29 and soon to be 3 decades if we keep fucking around, which it don't look like it's changing anywhere with the way the Cowboys are doing this front office thing. Now, I do want to say a quick little blurb here about the coaching side of things. And I want to start off with, of course, our coach, Mike McCarthy. So, I don't think he's going to be gone. I don't think he's going to be here next year.
Okay.
He will be gone, in my opinion, and because the Cowboys won't make it to the Super Bowl. I just don't. If we make it to the Super Bowl, that stuff, things can change. But outside of that, he's gone. So who's going to replace him? We'll discuss that in a second. First, we got Zach Luna dropping that 5 on it.
Woo.
Much love to Zach Luna in the house. The second drop of the week. What did the man say?
He said, "My girl and I are expecting our first child soon.
Congratulations.
It doesn't feel like I'm ready. Glad I can watch you guys to take my mind off of things. MCF. And, sending the love. So first of all, Zach, congratulations to you. Wishing the best for you, the wife, the baby. Hope everyone is happy and healthy. Very exciting time in your life. And
he's not ready. He don't feel like he's ready, but I'm gonna say a little.
Yeah, now this is the time to start getting that Cowboy baby name list, dust it off and go check it out and try to see if you can get yourself a little Emmett or a little Troy.
I do want to give him a little tip though from Mr. Zach Luna, and this is something that my parents kind of reminded me. But when you're having a child, there is no handbook, there is no guidebook, there's no way it's going to tell you exactly how things can go and how you do it right. You just got to do it yourself, and man, as long as you love that child and give it that love, that's all that matters. So good luck to you on this new adventure. I guess you can say my child is about to leave the house here in another year. She's gone. She's in college. And yeah, I hate thinking about it, but it's life, right? And, you'll see it's the most rewarding job you can have in the world. Being a dad, being a parent, being a mom, whatever it is, So I know it might be stressful right now, but you got this, brother. You got this. So shouting him out, put him on the board. Marco Seppian down to 94 points on that stream, boss.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as I continue to hear, I do want to kind of touch back on Mike McCarthy. I don't think he will survive. He might survive the season, but after the season, he's on his last year of his contract.
Remember,
he'll be out the door.
Jerry has said this before. He doesn't like to fire coaches mid-season. He let he let Jason Garrett, finish out the season, do the closing interviews and stuff like that, and then he got the axe.
The only time before that,
imagine that unless McCarthy does something to really,
unless he's like 2-8, then you might see McCarthy. Or before that, you see him gone. Outside of that, should still be there and play out the year. My point is that who replaces McCarthy after this year? We don't know. I have no idea. But I'm going to tell you who I think should replace him, and I've always said it's Bill Belichick. I've said this for multiple reasons. You want the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl in a real way, in the soonest way possible.
Yeah, with serious coaching.
And not just that, it's also input to the front office. Nobody else in the league has the input or the allowance of input on Jerry Jones and old Stephen Jones and the fucking clown show. Nobody will have more of an insight or more of something to say to be able to change the mindset of the front office than Bill Belichick. And the reason is simple. You got Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones. Both are outside of football. They're friends in real life. And you can bet your ass, Bill Belichick, if he comes to Dallas, he's not going to be just taking over. He's not going to be the GM. But if he comes to Dallas, he will definitely have input and a little key into Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones's brains. So maybe I'm not saying he's going to change things, but he has the best chance to push the front office to do the right moves here and there. You know what I mean? So maybe they can follow him a little bit rather than everybody has to follow Jerry and Steven. So because they're friends.
Yeah,
it's the only reason I'm saying. Not only because of the coaching of qualities of Bill Belichick, because they are friends. Since he was in Cleveland, Jerry Jones wanted him as a possible Cowboy coach. So I don't know if you want to say something.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is that not even since the days of like Bill Parcells, who also had at the time, pretty good relationship with the front office there. Obviously on a different level, but the point is that I'm just saying Jerry did not exactly allow Parcells to have the freedoms that he wanted, or the voice when it came to maybe some of the personnel and stuff. Yeah. So you can see that change, and hopefully, it brings more results if Belichick were to come into the building. And
I also want to say that, with the Parcells thing, the main thing with that was not even about the coaching again. It was about having a name to try to get that. I know you don't remember these days, but AT&T Stadium built.
True.
It was to bring in Bill Parcells to try to convince the city to get a new stadium in there.
But that's my point, that Parcells was the type of coach that people took seriously and made people believe that, hey, this guy can take us all the way.
But we know that, unfortunately, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they walk in on player-only meetings. They walk in, and Parcells was pissed. You can't keep a good coach around when you do that kind of shit. And Belichick, it might be the same thing after 3 or 4 years, but here's the thing. The reason I'm bringing up Belichick is this. BetOnline had the odds of which team will Bill Belichick be coaching in 2025. And the first team on this list, 100-1 odds, the Dallas Cowboys. The best odds in the NFL. The second team, the Eagles. 4 times more of 4 times less of a chance to get him in these numbers right now. Belichick, 100-1 odds, 500-1 odds, 100-1 odds to go with the Cowboys, 500-1 odds to go to the Eagles, 600-1 odds to the Bears, 800-1 odds with the Raiders. The Jets and Giants, 10-1 odds. I guess not 10-1. It's like 1,000-1 odds. The Bills, 1,200-1 odds. The Saints also 1,200. The Bucks, down the list. Who gives a shit? But the top team is the Cowboys, 4 times more likely than the Eagles in this scenario to sign Bill Belichick as the head coach in 2025. Now that's just bet online. That don't mean crap. It's just betting, but it just tells you that, hey, everyone, all the arrows have been pointing to Belichick coming to Dallas since. And I said this year, I kind of wish that McCarthy was gone. We got Belichick this year. But it seems like all things are pointing towards, if McCarthy don't win a Super Bowl, Belichick's coming in to take over. And, I don't know. I hope so. That's my hope. What is Mark Hovsepian thinking? Because I know he also hopes that. He dropped that 5 on it. And he's at, 99 points there at the Stream Boss? Yeah, he's almost fully loaded. What did Mark Hovsepian say, baby, with that $5 holla?
Garrett. Like I said, we should have hired Bill.
Yep.
If Dak takes us to a championship, pay him that $58 million. But if not, let Dak go. We are still in limbo if Dak is the guy.
Yep.
Well, again, that is where the coaching is going to be a big factor. Rolling back to the whole Belichick point we were trying to make, Belichick's not exactly the most complimentary of gentlemen. But he's actually said nice things about Dak Prescott, which, considering he basically is either neutral or negative about everybody else, nice things about Dak is the equivalent of, giving him a gold star and calling him his number one boy. So I'm just trying to say that it seems like Bill Belichick likes Dak and likes what he's working with there. Yeah, so in that regard, I'm just saying, it leans a little bit more towards some of those off-season rumors we've heard that the Cowboys are trying to lock Dak down for another 2 years because, that's about how long Bill Belichick should be able to turn the ship around. So,
yeah, Belichick doesn't want to take a team that's rebuilding, although we look like we're rebuilding now. He wants to take a team that's kind of ready to go and has the pieces he likes on there. We got a defense that's kind of going to still be together, an offense that's still going to kind of be together if we get these guys signed. So, yeah, let Belichick decide. I'm cool with that. Let him decide, go forward. I trust in Belichick more than Dak or Jerry or Steven or any player in this team. So I would rather go with Bill Belichick, let him take the reins of this team for 2-3 years and see what we got. Because that'll give us the last Hail Mary chance to make a difference and actually get maybe have a real chance to win a Super Bowl with a real coach.
Yeah.
If Dak takes us a hair away from the Super Bowl or takes us to the championship game, imagine how we would have done this year. And I don't think it's going to happen. But let's say we get to the championship game. How much farther would we have gone with Bill Belichick as our head coach? That's if we get to the playoffs and lose in the first round, how much farther would we have gotten with Belichick this year? That's a wasted year. That's why we should have done it this year. But Jerry Jones wants to save face because he does not want to look like the bad guy but he made a bad move by signing McCarthy. If he fires McCarthy in the 4th year of his 5-year contract, it makes him look like the bad guy. Oh, I made a mistake. It's all about Jerry's ego. They want to win their way. They'd rather lose their way than win the right way. We'll see. Belichick could make the only difference right now in this point of this Cowboy team's franchise. I think Belichick's the one that can make a real difference and really improve us from like a divisional round game to a championship game, or a championship game to the Super Bowl championship, winning it. So I'm just saying, like, I think that Belichick gives us the best chance right now with a team that's not fully, rebuilding and also not fully done. So I think Belichick
we are
can get us.
also, remember, in that weird in-between limbo state of, not quite here, not quite there, trying to figure it out.
Cowboys trying to figure it out themselves right now. I mean, they don't know what they're doing. They haven't signed CeeDee Lamb yet, extended him. They haven't done it with Micah, which they could have. They haven't done it with Dak. A lot of question marks.
Yeah.
Maybe they know more than we know, but right now they've shown us 29 years they don't know shit. Let's be honest. So as far as this side of things go, when it comes to Will McClay and drafting, they know a lot more. When it comes to coaches that have been here, like Parcells and others, they know a lot more. But the coach, the fucking front office, they blow nuts. Anyways, and we got, there we go. We got another $2 holler there from Mr. Marco Seppian. I think we got a 5 and a 2, don't we? I don't know if I missed that one or not. Hit him up, baby. I don't know if we got both those comments there.
Yeah, not sure if they both went through there, but either way, thank you very much.
Yeah,
a big mahalo to Marco Seppian. Yeah, so this $5 holler, he said, Parcells was a good coach, but when we got him, he was over the hill. Listen to teams we played, and then they said that the defense and the coaches were very predictable.
Interesting. But I will say this about Parcells, guys. Remember this, Marco Seppian. Parcells took this team with guys like Quincy Carter. And who was the other guy? Hutchinson? I mean, these are some fucking scrubs. He still got us from a team that was 5 wins to the playoffs the following year and lost to the Bucs in the wild card round.
Again, that is, to me, just as impressive as Jimmy Johnson being able to turn around a team that was 1-15 previously.
Well, that was his team, though. That was right. It was his team. They were 3-13. He took over. They went 1-15. Yeah. They did 2 games worse. But, of course, you know the story with Jimmy Johnson. Parcells in 2 years got us back to the playoffs in his second year, and then we had that Romo find, right, and went into the Seattle game and lost that one because of Romo's holding or lack of holding the ball for the field goal to the win for the win there. So I mean, Parcells was building us forward. We got Romo. We built forward but we had Wade Phillips was not that great of a coach because Parcells left. I think even though I think Parcells was still kind of old school, whatever it may be, obviously he was directing the team in the right direction. Yeah. And I think Bill Belichick, even if he's a little bit over the hill, he still will direct his team in the right direction. I know Mark agrees. So, I think that's what...
he inspires the type of respect that you wish every coach could inspire in a team, right? But it's a little bit different with Bill Belichick and his winning record to stand behind him as well.
And his winning ways, the way he controls a team, the way he makes the moves. Yeah, it's not going to be perfect or winning it every year. I know you got to have a great, Tom Brady situation, but it's also just his mind is what is important here. I think Belichick is looking for a new place and show up to show that the Patriots made a mistake, to show that Brady's not the reason why he won it. So Belichick's hungry. And I think he'd be a perfect mix for this team.
We have a very hungry team when you think about it. We have quite a few players that
they gotta show
absolutely have something to prove.
Yeah, they do.
Just from a
this
contractual,
whole team
personal
does,
standpoint.
But yes, the contracts definitely make a difference.
Of course, the team and the franchise itself definitely has something to prove. And yes, even our front office, they have something to prove. They want to prove that the systems and all the hard work and all the
they can win without
finagling that
Jimmy
they've
Johnson.
done. Exactly, pays off. So,
well, I mean, again,
and us fans, we just want a Super Bowl.
I just want a Super Bowl. I don't care how they do it, but again, I think the best chance, Bill Belichick. Even if he's a little over the hill, he'll get this team at least thinking the right way. Because right now, because of the front office and their mishandling of the season,
a league mentality on top of all these other things. Yeah.
Because of this season's bad handling this offseason by the front office, how can Mike McCarthy actually really have, his mind actually on things on the right track? I don't see that. I mean, he's on a contract year and he knows he's out of here. He's a dead coach walking, so to speak. So to me, it's like, McCarthy's done. He knows it. And what does that mean for this year? It's not going to be that good. So give me a real coach. And McCarthy's a real coach. So give me a real coach that can make a difference, not just on the field with the players, but a real coach that can make a difference in the front office.
Yeah.
And the only guy that can do that, the only guy in the world that can do that right now. Give me another name. If you guys have another name, let me know. But the only guy that can do that is Bill Belichick. Because he's friends with Jerry Jones and he's friends with Stephen Jones. And because of those two things, that's the best chance for us to try to get over the hump to some extent, even if it's a championship game.
Yeah, just get to that next level.
Yeah, and I trust Belichick with Dak. I trust Belichick with his team, offense and defensively. I trust Belichick over this fucking clown show of a crew, which is, of course, Jera Jones, Stephen Jones, and them peoples. Anyways, we'll get back to them in a minute because, yeah, Stephen Jones did speak. But I'll talk about the schedule here in a minute. But first, we got WV, West Virginia country boy, in the house with that $2 holler. Let me put that heart up on there. What did the man say, baby, as he's on the board in 23rd place?
And then, well, first of all, shout out to West Virginia country boy. He said a great coach could not overcome the clown show.
Well, that I would say that, yeah, like Parcells shows us how he could not really overcome it fully, but he got us in the right direction.
Yeah, why not try anyway?
Well, see, here's the thing. I think that after Jimmy Johnson stopped being the GM and was not allowed to be GM anymore in Dallas, that was the end of us having success. So, because Jerry Jones got his dirty little fingers all over this shit, with Stephen Jones now too. So what I'm trying to say is I agree with West Virginia country boy that even the greatest coaches are going to, even the best coach, Vince Lombardi, will have a problem with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones in his front office. But if they're not friends with them, you see, none of these coaches are friends of Jerry and Stephen Jones except one. Well, I guess there's a couple other ones like Jason Garrett, but who gives a fuck about him? A true great coach that is actually friends with the front office is Bill Belichick. So if we have a chance, guys, honestly, this will be the only chance probably for the rest of this decade. If we get Belichick in and get his mindset, let him make the moves. Whatever those moves are, let him be part of those moves. Let him give his 2 cents to the front office, and that will help the Cowboys team. It will help us, with Belichick's coaching abilities, but it will help us. But it also help us by affecting the front office and affecting a move here or a move there is maybe all we really need from a coach that can, kind of give his thoughts that kind of make sense for the front office because they're friends. That's my hope. I know maybe I'm pipe dreaming it here, but I would take Bill Belichick over any other coach right now for the next 2 or 3 years because I believe that he will give us the best chance to win something. Win a couple playoff games. Get to the championship game and win it. Get to the Super Bowl. We got the best chance with someone like Belichick than anybody. Give me any other name. I don't care what name you give me. A young guy, an old guy, a master coach, a shit coach. I don't care. Whatever coach you give us, we're not going to have the effect in the front office that we need. And the best chance we have, I'm not saying he'll even be able to do it that much, but the best chance will be Bill Belichick. And of course, he's a great coach. So that combination makes me happy if that was to happen. And again, like I said, finishing this coaching situation, Bill Belichick, best odds so far, right now, at this moment, the best odds to be coaching the Dallas Cowboys in 2025, according to the odds makers in Vegas.
Yeah, so we're not the only ones seeing what's happening.
Yeah. So now we also got to let me get to a quick schedule change. And I say schedule change, I mean showing the schedule, this year's schedule, and go to that after the bye week game against the Niners, week 8. Mm-hmm. We get the Niners. We go to San Francisco. The Niners will be wearing their classic reds. The classic reds, I don't know what that really entails, but basically it has the black trim on the numbers. And they're going to be wearing their classic red uniforms when they host the Cowboys this year, week 8. That's it. They're only wearing that uniform twice this year, by the way. They're wearing it against the Cowboys there, week 8, and they're wearing it in week 17 against the Detroit Lions. And that's it. But either way, when we see the Niners this year, they're going to be in a, it looks almost the same. It's a very slight differential, but they just have basically black trim. Kind of looks like it's 3D coming off their uniforms. That's the only difference. It looks like their regular uniforms.
Yeah, it looks identical to me at least. But
it's called their Red Classics. So maybe it's from the TO days, from the Steve Young end of his the end of his Steve Young's career days. Maybe Garcia days. That's the uniform. When TO tried to slam that ball on our star, that's the kind of uniforms they're gonna be wearing for that week 8 game against the Niners. Fuck the Niners. Just wanted to throw that in there. Now, any quick comments on anything here, baby, real quick before I get rolling to the top 10, the top 50 lists, whatever top lists. We're going to go to the list now since we've skipped them for the last 4 days. We haven't been live. We're going to catch up on those lists in a minute. But give me a couple of quick comments from the chat.
Revelation Journalist said, one thing about Bill Belichick, he will bring his glory hole with him. Jerry will love that.
Listen, if you're going to see Bill Belichick with his glory hole there, then you know Jerry Jones is going to hire him. Just saying. We know Jerry Jones loves them glory holes.
By the way,
You guys remember what a glory hole is?
of course.
I don't mean what you're. I don't mean the dirty one. I'm talking about the actual one. The 1880s or 1840s. I'm sorry, like the prospectors, the 49ers. They glory holes when they found gold and when they were digging and stuff. So that's the glory hole. Of course, it has a different word and connotation. Now, I think Jerry Jones still living in the 1850s. But anyways, baby, go ahead. Any other comments in there?
Yeah, no, Smodius said exactly. If we lose to the damn 49ers again, that means we didn't accomplish a damn thing during the intermission.
Yeah, I mean, in intermission, and I think that means, with this change of quarterback from Jason Garrett, which much worse than McCarthy. This will be real. McCarthy's a 10 times better coach than Jason Garrett, but it's so hard to overcome the front office that very few can do anything. Parcells did more than anyone, really. Jimmy Johnson, when he was allowed to, obviously as a GM, did the most. Parcells did the second most. Belichick would probably do as good as Bill Parcells or better. That's what I'm saying. So because of his friendship with the front office. If Belichick is friends with the front office, he says don't come to the players only meeting. The Joneses might, and I say might with a kind of cringing, but they might respect that. But we know with Parcells they did not respect that. So that's all I'm saying. Like that little friendship could be the difference between winning a Super Bowl and having some real bad years in the next 3 or 4 seasons here. So anyways.
I know, that's it. But before actually you move on to the next topic we have to discuss here, a quick little commercial break / reminder for everybody to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. Of course, hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Yes. And also, guys, I we hit Mark Hopesapien's other comment. I don't know if we hit the $2 one there he dropped.
Oh, true.
Because I think that's funny, and I'm going to say, he said, what's Bill Belichick going to say? Dak's a schmuck? Typical BS. Laugh out loud. Exactly. So, I'm with you there,
Now,
Mark
remember,
Hopesapian.
when I say that, obviously, it's one thing if he's, here in the building, he's not going to crap talk his own quarterback. But I'm saying when he had no reason to say anything nice at all about Dak, he still was saying nice things about
exactly.
Dak.
So, Belichick's going to be like, no, Dak's the man, and that's my job to make this team better. That's what a coach does. They don't just say, okay, this guy's getting paid $40 million or $60 million, let him do it. Coach says, no, I'm going to make him even better. And that's what someone like Belichick would do. Now, that's why I wanted to hear that last comment. I want to make sure we talked about that comment from Mr. Mark Hopesapian, who's running up this board quickly. But Dak Prescott on the top list here. They graded the top 10 quarterbacks. And again, this is by NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. And number 1 on the list is Patrick Mahomes. That's obviously expected. They graded Joe Burrow number 2, Josh Allen number 3, Lamar Jackson number 4, Matthew Stafford number 5, Justin Herbert number 6, C.J. Stroud number 7, Aaron Rodgers number 8, Jared Goff number 9, and then, of course, at 10, Dak Prescott. So he was ranked as the 10th best quarterback in the NFL entering this 2024 season. So again, if you look at this, the top 10 list this year and compare to last year, Mahomes was number 1 last year, Burrow was number 2, and Allen was number 3. That didn't change. But Lamar Jackson went from 7th to 4. Matthew Stafford went from 10th to 5th. Justin Herbert went from 6th and dropped down to I'm sorry, he was at 5th last year, dropped down to 6th. C.J. Stroud was not, of course, ranked last year as a rookie. He's up at 7th there. I know Eastside's celebrating. Aaron Rodgers, who was ranked 4th last year, dropped to 8th. Jared Goff was not rated last year, not ranked. He went up to 9. And Dak was 9th last year. So keep that in mind, guys. Dak was 9th. He dropped to 10th. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. In my mind, he's a top 10 quarterback. That's solidified. Now, I just want to add a couple other names in here. Where's Jalen Hurts? Nowhere to be found. He's off the list of the top 10 quarterbacks. Last year, he was ranked 6th. And what about Trevor Lawrence? Got that huge contract. Most tied with Burrow with the most pay. He's not on the list either. He was 8th last year. He dropped off the list. So Dak was 9th. He dropped to 10th. So again, Dak still a solid top 10 quarterback pretty much his entire career. Pretty much. Not maybe the first couple of years, but pretty much. I mean, he was Rookie of the Year. Just saying, it's pretty much his entire career. He's been a top 10 quarterback. Whether or not you agree with the way he's getting paid, I know now we'd all love him $40 million. We'd all take him $40 million. But now we're talking about 55 and up. So that changes the conversation. Dak Prescott, 10th among all quarterbacks entering 2024. His lowest ranking was out of the top 10. Some people have ranked him out of the top 10. But he finished second in MVP voting. Keep that in mind, too, in this past season. The lack of postseason playoff success seems obviously to hurt his overall ranking. And even though some of it's on him, I hate having to.
Off.
I hate that though. That it's like a team situation. So it's like it's hard to base the postseason failures on only Dak, which is what they kind of did here in this top 10 list. I don't really care about the top 10 list. I'm just letting you guys know what the coaches, scouts, and executives are thinking. Now, it does make sense to have Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, even Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson above Dak. But Matthew Stafford, I guess maybe. I don't know if he's better than Dak this year. Justin Herbert, no way. CJ Stroud, I mean, maybe. Aaron Rodgers because of his name, but, I guess maybe him. Jared Goff, I don't agree. So I think that Dak could be above, even higher. He could be a top 5, 6 quarterback easily on this list, in my opinion. But I can understand why people changed it up and have different thoughts. It's mainly because of the postseason or lack of postseason success. But yeah, Matthew Stafford, CJ Stroud, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, should they all be over Dak? And I'm not talking about if they won a Super Bowl or not. I'm talking about if, these players truly are better than him as a quarterback. I have a question about that. So his highest ranking from any of these executives and scouts was 7th. So he wasn't even ranked in the top 5 by anybody, by any of these executive scouts or front office people. But last year was 10th. Last year was 9th. This year, of course, he's now 9th. He's 30 years old. And basically they're saying he's very good. He's outside of the top 5, the top tier, they believe, despite the big numbers, which, again, Markov Sepien, ourselves here, we've all discussed the reasons why. But for a second consecutive year, Dak appeared on the majority of ballots, 63%, which is actually a slight improvement from the year before. But he's the only quarterback in the top 10 without a single top 6 vote. Even the guys lower than him got a top 6 vote. He did not. His production in 2023, of course, suggested that a bigger jump was coming for this ranking system here. But, he became the first quarterback since Roger Staubach in 1973 to lead the Cowboys in touchdown passes and lead the NFL in touchdown passes. You guys remember, Aikman didn't do that. None of the other quarterbacks in between have done it since Roger Staubach. Not Romo. Leading the NFL in touchdown passes. So, he had 36 last year. He promised he would limit his interceptions after throwing 15 2 years ago. He did that. I think he had 9 last year. He did that with also just a 1.5 interception rate. That's the 4th lowest in the NFL. His quarterback rating outside the pocket, 81.8. And on third downs, 88.2. And when pressured, 65.4. All led the NFL. So when Dak was outside of the pocket, he was the best quarterback in the league, which I've been saying since the first year we went on MyCowboysFamily. I said, get Dak out of the pocket, rolling pockets, move him out more. No, but they did it. When they do it, he's the best. I don't care if it's good teams or bad teams. 81.8 on third downs. Dak is the best. 88.2, and when he's pressured, someone in his face, 65.4, all leading the NFL last year. And he did all this while transitioning from that shitty Kellen Moore offense to the shitty McCarthy first quarter of the year offense into the McCarthy. So we had 3 changes in 10 months for Dak to have to go through and overcome. And he did that with crazy numbers, right? So an NFL executive, these are all anonymous. He said this, an NFC executive said, quote, he always does well enough to be in the top 10, but never gets over the hump. He makes all the throws. He's playing the position at a high level, but something's missing. There are a lot of factors in that, from the running game, play calling, defense. So again, this executive is even saying it's the running game not there. It's the play calling that's been lacking sometimes. Yeah. It's the defense that's been blowing it sometimes. The Cowboys have not won in a long while, and they're saying that basically this is a big reason why Dak is kind of taking the blame on this here. He said, quote, this executive said, certain guys are close to elevating their team late in the game, but Dak does not seem to do that. And I don't know if that's only on Dak. It could be the play calling, the lack of a run game, pressure. We just seen him get.
At this point, everything is a factor, and you can't completely dismiss it. So
yeah, well, now Dak is being asked by the Cowboys front office to basically lift an offense that lost Tony Pollard, We got Zeke now. We lost Tyron Smith. We got a rookie out there. We lost Tyler Biadasz. We got another rookie there, or an undrafted guy if he makes a team there. Michael Gallup's gone, so we got a third round pick in Tolbert, hopefully taking that over. But nobody really to fix and fill up those spots, guys. No, we lost them to free agency or roster cuts. These guys, we spent very little money to replace these guys in the offseason. And according to the Joneses, it was to brace for this year, $55.45 million cap hit that we're paying on Dak's contract right now, which is obviously the final year of his contract. We have some dead money, though, the next 2 years for Dak, or 3 years. Another NFL personnel director, not to be named, of course, but an NFL personnel director said, quote, Dak is lacking that high-end ceiling, but he plays the position really well. Not elite as an athlete or a passer like Mahomes and Josh Allen are. The Cowboys need to support him in those big matchups. He's really good, but not quite good enough to elevate the entire team in those matchups, baby. I know these are negatives against Dak, but I do want to say something. Do you remember what I said about Dak Prescott? Basically, every year we've been on My Cowboys Family, and you guys out there know it too. I've been saying Dak can win you on his back, elevating the team 1 out of 5 games.
Yep.
1 out of 4 or 5 games. But you cannot have Dak elevating the team every single week. He is not Mahomes. That is the problem with the front office. They think that he can elevate the team every week. And most quarterbacks cannot do that. There's only maybe 3 or 4 that can do that in the NFL right now. Dak's not one of them. The Joneses don't realize that, and they don't care. They just think that he is because he's getting paid the money. And that's what some people that don't understand. The money doesn't correlate with that. But the front office has to make moves and do stuff to help him in these matchups. When you have a situation you need somebody to come up and save the team, it cannot be relied on Dak every single. Dak will win it for you 4 or 5 times a year. You got to have other guys that can win it for you too. Other guys, whether it's play calling, other guys, whether it's defense, other guys, whether it's other positions. But Dak's got to elevate everybody on his own without any additional, with help getting taken away and no new real help. That's the problem with this team, the front office. I'm not blaming Dak on these things. I'm just not. Dak, I already knew Dak is not going to be Aaron Rodgers or he's going to be Mahomes.
Yeah, similar to, the last 20-something years. Dak inherited this broken system in a way. So, and I mean broken system just overall, the
front office
structure
system
of the front office and how they do things, not like the offense specifically now or anything like that. When
I look at the receivers that he throws to, we know we got one guy that could elevate things, but he kind of disappeared, didn't he? In the playoffs last year? I mean, CeeDee Lamb, he was on drugs last year in that playoff game in the first half. Like, he was shocked to, get the ball throw. He wasn't catching the ball. He was dropping the passes. He was out of position. So, CeeDee Lamb has to take some of the blame too. But let's talk about the top 10 receivers. ESPN, who polled the same coaches, executives, and scouts about the top 10 receivers in the league. And here's the numbers. Here's the people they came up with. Number 1, Justin Jefferson. Number 2, Tyreek Hill. Number 3, Jamar Chase. And then number 4, CeeDee Lamb as the 4th best receiver in the league. Number 5 was Devontae Adams. A.J. Brown, number 6. Amon-Ra St. Brown was 7. Mike Evans, 8. Stephon Diggs, 9. And Brandon Ayuk, believe it or not, for the Niners, was 10th on this list. So CeeDee Lamb ranked as the 4th best wide receiver entering 2024. Out of CeeDee Lamb's 135 receptions last year, 80 of them were for first downs. That's
nice.
Almost 60% of his catches led to first downs or touchdowns. It's crazy.
Even if you probably adjust for some of the, let's be real, crappier teams, that's still a pretty impressive number. A
lot of receivers played against crappy teams in the past. We had Michael Irvin play against crappy teams in the past and it didn't do these numbers. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, that's some huge numbers from CeeDee Lamb. His highest ranking on this coaches, executives, and front office list, the highest ranking was 3rd. He didn't get a first or second place ranking there. His lowest ranking was 10th. Again, he is 25 years old. And last year he ranked in the 10th spot. Now, of course, he's in the 4th spot. So that's a big jump for CeeDee Lamb. And again, he cracked the top 10 for the first time last year. And, was there with, again, this year he's over guys like Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans, and T. Higgins. All that thought process last year in the top 10. Had a great performance after we see what he did. He actually had a better than a top 10. He had a top 2, 3 performance last year, becoming the first Cowboy receiver with 1,700 or more yards in a season. He led the NFL in receptions, 135 catches, finished second behind Tyreek Hill in yards. He had 1,749 yards for CeeDee Lamb. And he get all that despite getting constant attention from defenses as the number one option, despite Michael Gallup disappearing pretty much the whole year. So a lot of questions, a lot of greatness from CeeDee Lamb. The biggest question I have is what the hell is the front office doing not signing this guy? Waiting another year? I don't know. By the way, I want to shout out the man, skeptical fan, who dropped that 1-2. J. Lou, dollar holler, taking Marco Seppi to 96 points in the stream, boss. What did the man say?
He said, "Go Cowboys."
Go Cowboys.
And a big old thumbs up.
Hell yeah. Much love to the man staying skeptical fan, and yes, one of the winners of our jersey raffles. We'll keep you updated on that, my brother. Trust me. We're doing this on our own now. We're not doing the Mosh stuff now. We're just doing it on our own. So it's our first time, and it's taking a little longer than we thought, but we'll get the hang of this by the time the season gets going. Trust me. Appreciate you. Much love to skeptical. Always staying skeptical. Now, that's a top 10 receiver list. What about the top 50 PFF players for 2024?
Okay.
They have their rankings and their little analytics. The top 50 PFF players showcase the league's elite talent, highlighting the top 50 players with the rankings based on a combination of past performance, future potential, and overall impact on the game. How about the overall impact on the stream? Marco Seppian with that 5 on it. A $5 holler. I'm going to fix the board, make sure I get him moving up.
He's keeping himself fully loaded at that stream box.
He's 100. He's over 100. He's at 100 points now, fully loaded and moving up this board. Let me update him there. You update us on what he said, baby.
Mr. MCF. He's
me.
not bad, but no one ever considers the strength of schedule or the strength of defense. He does jack against some of the top 10 defenses. Our division defense ranks 26, 30, 32.
I mean, some good numbers there. I'll let you handle that first, baby.
Yeah, so again, when it comes to strength of schedule, obviously even now, we can only predict that so far, right? And it looks
He's talking about last year, I think is what he was talking about.
Yeah,
No, I think it was last year he was talking about
I got that. Yeah. Thank you. Shout out to Marco Seppian, by the way, who followed it up, with another.
We're going to hit both these comments,
holler. So let me go ahead and read that second comment, and then I'll get back to my comments.
Yes.
But Marco Seppian said, "I'll send you a breakdown for 5 years because Dak kills bad teams. He beats most average teams. He'll beat one good team a year and then lose to a lame team pretty much every year."
Man.
So
I'll answer that in a minute, baby. I want you to hit it up first. I'll hear your comments.
I know. It's just I'm trying to remember what it was I was saying in the first place.
Well, I'm looking at the first comment there about, nobody considers strength of schedule. I disagree. I think people do consider strength of schedule. And they also consider postseason success. I think both those things are things that maybe not everyone. I agree, not everyone considers it, but I do think that it is considered by a lot of people. Postseason success and strength of schedule. But when I look at his comments there again, our division defensive ranks 26th, 30th, and 32nd. I agree. He's played 6 games against shittier, defenses. But I mean, if I look at Dak Prescott as a quarterback, he's top 10 easily, maybe even top 7, top 8. But when you look at the team, the coaching, the front office, the issues that we have on defense and offense outside of Dak, that to me that adds to that. Now, is he worth $40 million or is he worth $60 million? I mean, that's a whole different discussion. But as far as Dak Prescott and his ability, with a good coach, I think Dak is fine. I think we win a Super Bowl with Dak. I think any team can win a Super Bowl with Dak. But I think that you have to have the right guys around him and the right coach around him. Do we have the right guys around him? Kind of. We've had, on and off. Definitely never had the coaches around him, though. I can guarantee you that. The other comment Mark said there was, he's going to send a breakdown for 5 years.
Yeah, I read that comment.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to say that. I do agree that he does. Obviously, Mahomes does better against average teams. But again, the difference between Dak and Mahomes go to the playoffs, win games, put it on his shoulder. He's the kind of guy like Aaron Rodgers that can win games based off of putting the teams on their shoulders.
It's funny because
most
our
teams can't.
show on Netflix actually, again,
kind of highlights
kind of a great job of highlighting that even the shittiest teams in the NFL are not that far away from the best teams in the NFL. It would be so much easier, and I fully admit this, even as a Cowboy fan, right? It would be so much easier if we could just boil it down to our
One
team
player.
fully sucks or our team is fully great. But the reality is that the difference between the number 1 team in the NFL and the 32nd team in the NFL, that gap is not as big as you might initially think it is. So, but let me go ahead and kick things off here as well, because Marco Seppian said, hold up, wait a minute, I still have another $5 holler.
Well, I didn't see it drop yet, but when it does drop, he will be officially in 5th place on the overall board and not far back on 4th, 3rd, and 2nd place. So the man's making a run once again. What did Mark have to say with that 5 on it? Another 5 on it here. I just saw it. He's about to go through. What did he say?
Strength of schedule and D, because we play a Philly team who's good, but they had a 30th ranked defense. New England had a great defense, but no offense. We played 2 top 5 defenses, and we scored 10 points each. I mean, at this point, I don't want to say that we're necessarily splitting hairs, but against one of those top defenses, as long as those 10 points get you the win, you're good. You know, of course you're not going to score as much against some of the better defenses here in the league. Yeah, every once in a while you might catch them on a bad day or something, but we just want wins, right? One of the biggest things, and I know, Mark, you fully agree with this too, is that we tend to play down to the level of some of the other teams, right? Like in the sense of like we tend to match loser energy. So I'm sorry. What?
No. I was going to say that. Actually, I think that Mark is saying the opposite. I think he's saying that the Cowboys, we kind of play. We take advantage of the shitty teams. I think in the past we definitely played down to these teams, but in the recent times, in the last couple of years, whether it was Kellen Moore's offense or McCarthy's last year, the Cowboys have destroyed the shitty teams. Now, we have maybe played down in the sense of the teams we should match up equally with, we shit the bed. Is that on Dak? Sometimes. But again, Mark, I think that's the thing. I don't think it's always on Dak. I think you got to look at play calling, and a lot of that was Kellen Moore. You got to look at, the fact that this team was kind of disheveled last year for a quarter of the season. That was on McCarthy, not on Dak. So I think those are the bigger issues than Dak Prescott. Now, yes, the money we spend and this and that and where the money goes and who can pick up and sign. If we didn't have Dak, we'd sign, Derek Carr. Or we get a rookie in the 5th round and hope it's Dak again. That it just, to me, we're not going to be able to, unless we had, this is what I'm trying to say. I guess let me just wrap it up with this comment. If we had Aaron Rodgers or, even at his prime, not even now, Mahomes now, maybe a couple of other guys, and I'm saying maybe, they could put the game on their shoulders every single week and they could win with no one against good or bad teams. Dak is not that guy. And on this top 10 list, not many of those guys are on that list as well. You look at the history of guys, the greats, the elites, there's very few of them that can do this. But you look at the league right now, Dak is not able to do this. He's still a top 10 guy. He's still very good, but he's not elite, which is like 3 guys on this list. That's it. That's what I'm trying to say. Outside of 3 quarterbacks out of 32, I can't say that it's on Dak. It's got to be on someone else than Dak. And to me, it's just like Dak is part of the problem, but not the problem. That's all. That's all I'm going to leave with that. Speaking of getting help, CeeDee Lamb will give him very little help for Dak Prescott in that playoff game against the Packers. They had an embarrassing loss against the Packers. But the top 50 players entering this year, they had, they ranked these players on combination of past performance, future potential, and overall impact of the game. Guess who was not on this list? Dak Prescott. So there you go, Mark. So, again, that's what I'm trying to say. I think people, when they break down these lists, whether it's his peers, players, analysts, coaches, front office, scouts, Dak is not a top 50 player. But you know who is? The guy on your screen, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, again, who disappeared in the playoff game, more than Dak did. CeeDee Lamb, 20th, ranked 20th on the 20th best player right now in the entire NFL. Then we got Marco Seppian dropping another one. What did he say, babe, with that 5 on it?
Ooh,
he
said,
continues to move up the board.
Absolutely not all on Dak.
Yeah.
Point is, he's not a quarterback that you reset the market with. You can't pay a good quarterback elite money and then expect to have more guys for him.
I agree, but I do expect the front office to, kind of understand that you just can't leave him hanging either. Offensive line, there's pieces that are missing every year. It seems like we didn't prepare right for the Tyron Smith year and, the years of Tyron Smith injuries. What's up, Abdul Hamid? Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. Rep that star, baby. You know it. Much love to Abdul. But, yeah, I think that the Cowboys, I agree with that, except for the fact that we actually have the ability to get players for Dak Prescott, whether it is through the draft, like, you can say a tight end with Ferguson. You can say, of course, CeeDee Lamb on your screen right there. We brought in Brandon Cooks, which is a good pickup, but you got to use these guys properly. That's not on Dak. So I think when you bring in some of these guys, you got to use them right. You draft some of these guys, you got to use them right. We got some working. We got some not working. When you look at our offensive line, we got 2 rookies now. That's not going to be helpful for this offense and Dak and McCarthy, Or if it was Kellen Moore, I'd say the same thing. It hurts Kellen Moore's offense if you don't have a good offensive line ready to roll. We got CeeDee Lamb, we got Brandon Cooks with Tolbert, number 3. The front office overpaid for Gallup. Those are the reasons why we can't get the good players, because we're overpaying on the mid-range crap players that we're making mistakes on. So, and I must say this as well, 100% agree with Mark's first statement in that first sentence, that you do not reset the market with Dak Prescott. I agree with that. I do not think it should be that, but I also think it is the market, the quarterback market. Now, I remember a couple of years ago, before we had Dak signed to this contract, I said, Dak's going to get paid the most money because he's young enough, a franchise quarterback, has all the leverage, and he's one of the best quarterbacks for the future. Right now, he's 30 years old. He is not in that same position he was. So I agree with Mark. Right now, he should not reset the market, not because he's not good or he sucks or he's great. Or the reason he should not reset the market now is because you got other guys, younger guys, like Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, who just did it, right? And Trevor Lawrence, both of them are a couple years younger and even more than that than Dak Prescott. They're resetting the market. It should not be Dak Prescott resetting the market. So I agree with Mark on that. But in the end, the market for quarterbacks and the way the Joneses run the front office is why we're having money issues, and the reason we're paying some other guys badly, making moves with some other guys that don't fit our schemes or don't fit the coaches what they want or needs. We could have got Bobby Wagner for cheap for Dan Quinn. We didn't do that. So how are you going to help this defense get better? We're good. Why not help them get better? Well, that's the front office. Our offense, we're good. Why don't we get better? Because the offense doesn't choose to go that route. They choose to just give our team enough and then say we don't have enough money. So I don't buy into the money thing. But I do agree. Do not reset the market with Dak. He's at a point in his career where I don't think it's time. You reset it with guys that have not, kind of gone as far as maybe they should have as a player, as a individual player. But if you ask me who's better, Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott's a lot better than Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. And even though Jalen Hurts has been to a Super Bowl, I still say that Dak, Nick Foles, when they won a Super Bowl, was he the better quarterback than Dak Prescott? Of course not. But you have to have the right coaching, the right scheme, the right system, the right players. Yeah. And not just good players, not just a drafted player that's good. You got to have the whole thing has to be on the same page. And that's the issue with the Cowboys for 29 years. We've not been on the same page. It don't matter if it was Romo, Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Des Bryant. It don't matter who it was. So that to me is the bigger issue than, Dak is the problem. But I agree. Do not reset the market with Dak at this point. Now, what about CeeDee Lamb? He should be resetting the market or be at the top of the market with Justin Jefferson, right? Cowboys have not even gave him a penny. We just read off a bunch of statistics on why CeeDee Lamb is so dominant right now. So when you look at this PFF top 20 list, top 50 list, the first Cowboy on this list is 20th, CeeDee Lamb. And they're basically saying that his career progression has been impressive to watch. He's improved each year. And probably only, the fact that Tyreek Hill is the only person that got more yards than him over the 2023 regular season is why he is a top 20 player. Not receiver, top 20 player in the NFL. They also mentioned that CeeDee Lamb had a 91.1 PFF analytical overall grade and was tied for the third best in the entire league for a game when it comes to grading and analytics. He also had a 2.78 yards per route run. which represented a new career high for CeeDee Lamb. And again, remember, guys, he's just 25 years old. He's only getting better. He's not done improving yet. That's what I think. That's what PFF thinks. That's why they put him at 20th. And that's why I guess Jerry Jones ain't paying him. I don't know why. Now, what about the rest of this list of players? Because we go to the 20th spot, and there's no from 50 to 20, there's only a CeeDee Lamb. And then we got to go all the way to the top 10, which actually was released today, the top 10 list. And I think you guys know who's going to make who's going to make the top 10. Who's the best player on our team overall? It is Micah Parsons. Yeah. So Micah Parsons got in the top 10. And, you know, when you look at the top 10 players here, here's the rankings, okay? You had Christian McCaffrey at 10, Fred Warner at 9, Tyreek Hill at 8, Nick Bosa at 7. Right there, you already have 3 Niners. You had the Chiefs' Chris Jones at 6, and then at 5, Micah Parsons. PFF ranked him 5th best player in the entire NFL. Justin Jefferson was 4th. Trent Williams was 3rd. Myles Garrett, the highest-ranked defensive player, the only guy above Micah was Myles Garrett at 2nd, and number 1, of course, Patrick Mahomes, PFF-wise, right? So as an edge rusher, Micah Parsons ranked as the 5th best player in the National Football League last year, according to PFF, heading into this 2024 season. And I was going to say what they said, but first let me hear what Mr. Jet Li has to say with his $2 J. Lou holler.
He said Diggs and Bland didn't make the top 10 corners.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna get. We got that. We got you, man. We're gonna go through that in a minute. Don't worry. That's coming up next. But yeah, they somehow when they did the cornerbacks, none of our guys showed up, which is very strange. Very strange.
And by the way, Mr. Seabass had said a little before Jet Li's drop, Dan Quinn landing Wagner and Baltimore landing Henry should have reminded folks just how much pull coaches have in Jerry's world. And none. Stephanie running the numbers, reminiscing them Burger King accounting days. But yeah, again, you're seeing it throughout the league. A coach has not just the pull that they have within the office, but the draw to bring in talent that sees that coach as a beacon of, shining light for greener pastures, right? So if you are smart, you leverage that kind of coaching relationship to bring in talent. You have seen other teams do it. So it's not impossible. Agree,
100% there with Seabass, and agree with we'll talk about Jet Li's comment in a minute as well. Mark goes at 97 points on that Stream Boss as of right now. So, yes, great comments. I would say by the peanut gallery, but great comments by the chat there. Appreciate you guys and the drops. Jet Li on the board there. I think he's tied for 23rd right now on the overall. That's his first appearance on the leaderboard as of now, of course. Much love to Jet Li 44, Seabass breaking it down. And as I was finishing about Micah Parsons, PFF puts him as the 5th best overall player, 2nd best defensive player in the NFL based on analytics. And they said that he became the 4th player in the PFF era, which is like 17 years, something like that, to record 100 or more pressures in a single season. Only the 4th player to ever do that. He finished last year with 103 pressures on the 17-game slate. He's also one of the most dynamic and explosive pass rushers, according to PFF, that the game has ever seen, and he played the purest pass rushing role of his career this past season. Meaning not as much hybrid linebacker and edge. It was all edge pretty much last year. Only Myles Garrett had a higher pass rush win rate than the 24.1% that Micah Parsons managed, and his pressure rate was the top mark in the NFL. So, we said all these things about Micah. It's just a matter of, will he overcome and be the defensive player of the year with the stats, with those sacks? He's the only guy, him and Reggie White, the only guys to get 14 sacks in the first 3 years of their career. So he's still up there. He just hasn't got the most like Bosa and Watt and all these other guys. So we'll see what happens. But I'm happy with the I'm not happy, but I'm content. I agree. Micah is definitely a top 10 player in the NFL, our best player on our team, and probably top 5 guy out there. I mean, I guess Myles Garrett's got him beat right now, but I would take Micah over Myles Garrett. I think it's close. But we'll see in week 1 with the Browns. So that's the Micah Parsons, overall PFF numbers. I'm going to go back though to the positional kind of rankings, and let's go to where did Trayvon Diggs end up? You see Jet Li's comment. Well, let's touch on that. The top 10 cornerbacks. Here's what it looked like, and it did not involve any Dallas Cowboys. You had Patrick Surtain from the Broncos, the Browns Denzel Ward, the Jets Sauce Gardner, the Titans L'Jarius Sneed, the Dolphins Jalen Ramsey, the Chiefs Trent McDuffie, the Packers Jair Alexander, the Bears Jalen Johnson, Seahawks Devin Witherspoon, and the Houston Texans cornerback Derek Stingley. Those are the top. That's a top 10 list right there for the cornerback spot. Now I know Trayvon Diggs was injured last year, but this is about 2024. And this is from his peers. These are from the scouts, the front office people, the executives. They forget about Trayvon Diggs? I think they did. I think they forgot about TD. And they definitely forgot the guy who broke every record when it comes to touchdown, pick sixes at cornerback, DaRon Bland. Like, what? Like, to me, it's crazy, guys. So basically what it comes down to is Trayvon Diggs and DaRon Bland were not considered top 10 cornerbacks as far as the NFL coaches, scouts, and executives were concerned. Now, I will say that Diggs did get an honorable mention on this list, and also DaRon Bland did get a couple of votes. But, man, what disrespect. I think that's disrespect to the Bland and Diggs combo. Not one guy made it for this year? Come on, man. Come on. I don't get that. If you look at these numbers since 2021, Trayvon Diggs has led the league in interceptions with 15, and he missed the whole year, basically. Led the NFL with interceptions since he's been in the league. And DaRon Bland, one less year under his belt, is tied for second in the NFL since 2021 with 14 interceptions since 2021. And again, he didn't even play that first year in 2021. DaRon Bland did not play that year. So, again, these great cornerbacks we have, and they've shown it for a couple of years. 3 years for Trayvon, 2 years for Bland. And this is the thanks they get? All right, wait, listen. Hey, coaches, executives, and scouts, time to get a little payback there. Trayvon Diggs said, quote, comical. And then, that was what he posted on Twitter. Then Micah Parsons responded saying, quote, I don't think players should be the only ones getting drug tested, 7. Referring to 7 as in Trayvon Diggs. Micah's like, these freaking people, the coaches, the executives, and scouts need to get drug tested if they didn't put DaRon Bland or Trayvon Diggs in that top 10 list. And I agree.
I mean,
but again,
I was going to say, I have to agree with them there, but unfortunately, that's not in their contracts.
No. Look, in the end, I really don't care about these things. But you know what? Hopefully they care about it, and it pushes them to even want to be better. Because that's a little fire under their ass in the cornerback
if you're
spot.
Watching the receiver show on Netflix, Amon-Ra St. Brown was extremely, deeply, personally bothered by not making the Pro Bowl. So, I'm just saying, like, it's a similar thing. Like, that upsetness drove him to push himself even more so than he normally would.
Remember, though, that a lot of things on their contracts refer to Pro Bowlers as, extra money.
Of course.
Extra money for Pro Bowl. But for a top 10 list, there's no extra money. So I can understand why Amon-Ra St. Brown is more pissed off about not getting to the Pro Bowl. He loses money there. But this top 10 list is just for a little fire under the ass. So
that was the point I was trying to make.
No, I agree. I agree. I agree. But one is like the money and the fire. This is just the fire. So hopefully Trayvon Diggs, DaRon Bland. I gotta say this too. Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer is a cornerback, defensive back specialist. So I got to assume that he's going to also come up with stuff that makes even these guys look better. I'm hoping. So, anyways, just wanted to drop that there. Let me actually continue with Trayvon Diggs because there was actually a video I posted even before the stream started where he was working out with Micah Parsons together. They were working out, but a lot of video out there of Trayvon Diggs doing a lot of work, guys. He was going through explosive hurdle jumps. And it's basically a drill where he's jumping a hurdle and then he shifts to the left. Then jumps that hurdle, shifts to the right. Jumps the hurdle. And you got to push off that left torn ACL. So he wasn't doing it at a full blast, but he was doing it very confidently. Carefully, but confidently. So that's a good sign there. Again, the knee is post-ACL surgery. Seems to be doing very well. Of course, next week will be the start. Will be the start for the official comeback in training camp for the All-Pro and top 10 cornerback. We know he should be a top 10 cornerback, but the point here is I'm trying to make, he's out there now working with Micah Parsons with no sleeve on his leg. He's out there, a week away from training camp. Guess what? The Cowboys have to figure out sometime in the next couple of days whether he's going to be on the PUP list or not. I still think Trayvon Diggs will be on the PUP list before training camp. So even though his comeback starts, in training camp, I don't think training camp is you're going to see a lot of Trayvon Diggs early in training camp. I think the Cowboys are going to be very careful about getting him out there at full blast. So we'll see that. A lot of players right now get named to PUP lists all over the league. I still haven't heard any from the Cowboys, but it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Probably the next day or two, you're going to hear the names. Now, that's one guy busting ass out there. Trayvon Diggs is also busting ass and working out with Micah Parsons, which is great to see both of them working there. And Micah is also doing other stuff out there, working a lot. You got a lot of videos I posted already. And he was working on his pass rush bend technique, getting around that corner to the edge. Coach Lance Dean, who's been a guy who's been working with him for years, kind of the part of the secret sauce to Micah Parsons' success over his 3-year career so far, entering his 4th. If there's any young rushers out there looking to elevate their game, they should reach out to Coach Lance Dean. Remember, this guy worked with Micah since he was in high school. So, we talked about his impact, Lance Dean, coach, this offseason coach Lance Dean, his impact on Micah last year. He's still, Micah's still all in with him this year. So just wanted to throw it out there. And again, like I said, not sure if the same coach is working with them, but we know we got Micah and Trayvon Diggs working out together, right? And he was working more linebacker stuff, more linebacker coverage work and turning the hips, turning the body, working the legs, not pass rushing stuff with Trayvon Diggs. That was good to see him working on pass rush, and then also working on strength, and then also working on coverage as a linebacker. So Micah, he's really ready for training camp, 100% full go. Knock on wood, everything goes well. And, of course, Trayvon Diggs, I believe he's on the right track, but I do believe Trayvon Diggs will have some time before he, gets on the field. He'll probably start off on the PUP list before hitting the field maybe in the middle of training camp. So we'll see what happens. That's the defensive side of things. I got a couple of offensive guys that popped up here, and I'll stay with this. Dak Prescott had his camp, his youth camp he had last week. We talked about this last week. You know what guy who was there? Jalen Tolbert. Part of Dak's camp. You love to see the connection with Tolbert, the young guy who got to come up big this year for us. Tolbert in his 3rd year here, 3rd round pick 3 years ago. He is now stepping in there, been a big part of things with Brandon Cooks and with Dak Prescott. We also know Jalen Brooks been working with Brandon Cooks. So these receivers are really ready to go. Brandon Cooks, he's already looking great what he's doing out there in his practice and working out. He's right now in fantastic shape heading into his 11th season. And the younger players of the Cowboys have talked about how Brandon Cooks has taught them the importance of proper nutrition and effective workout routines to extend and have long careers in the NFL. Like I said, you see Jalen Tolbert doing this. You're seeing Jalen Brooks doing this under Brandon Cooks and his tutelage.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not fans of them, but, very, very cool to see, and, wish everyone was doing stuff like that.
Tolbert taking a step in his development in his 3rd year here. He had more playing time last year. His 2nd year, he had a career-high 22 catches, 268 yards-wise, and 2 touchdowns. The work is not close to being finished with him. And the next step starts in training camp. So he's already stepping towards that direction with Brandon Cooks. I'm looking to see him, and he's also working with Dak Prescott at his retreat. Dak and Tolbert should be connected, is what I'm hoping for. Now, I will talk about Dak in a minute, but first we're going to talk about Marco Sepien and his comment from his 5 on it.
Woo.
$5 holler by the man, Marco Sepien. What did he say?
If we don't fix the run game, we are doomed. The strength of this team is cornerback and number 11. Run, and you neutralize both. Mazi, Osa, Golston, and a 7th rounder, they don't scare anyone.
Agree overall outside of Micah, right? I mean, I think Tank also scares some offensive linemen. But when it comes to actual impact players, yeah, I mean, we're missing some guys still. For me, 100%. And I thought he was talking about offense for a second when he said fixing the run game. No, I know he's talking about defense now when he read it all the way out. The defensive side of things, there's no question. If we don't fix the run game, it's another bad year. Even if the defensive numbers look good, it's going to be a bad season for the Cowboys on defense if we cannot stop the run. So I've talked about this multiple times. The interior 5 guys we have. Mazi and Osa starting. And you got what? You got, like you said, what's his name there? Golston, who plays inside and outside. And then you had guys up there like, Daxon, who's an undrafted guy. We got the rookie we got in there now. I mean, these are the backups. That's it. We have rookies and undrafted players. And then Osa, Mazi, and maybe a little bit of Golston in there. You know what I'm saying? That's not that good. That's a very fearful for us. It's very fearful opening there inside of our defense when it comes to the run game. So I'm going to talk about that, though, in a minute. So I'll even touch on that a little bit more here about Mazi in a minute or two here, Mark. So good points you brought up, and I agree. I will say this, though, continuing our side of things with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, Mississippi State quarterback right now, plays for Mississippi State. Of course, Dak was from there. But he's also Mississippi State quarterback. He's a Baylor transfer. His name is Blake Shapen. He says he trained with Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. He said, "quote anytime you can take information from a guy like that, that's played in a lot of big time football games in the NFL, that is pretty special." So even Dak, helping out some of his, future alumni there at Mississippi State quarterback and working out with those guys. So again, you've seen Dak; he's working out with everybody. He's got a little retreat. He's working out with Brandon Cooks and Jalen Tolbert. You got, Dak working with rookies out there. Not rookies. Let me rephrase that. But college players and from Mississippi State. So, this offense is putting in some pre-training camp work. So we'll see how this thing goes. So now we clear the path here now, the final kind of portion of the stream tonight, which is maybe the most important. But I want to talk about training camp, which is a couple days away, basically, right? As we know, and again, repeat after me, guys, on the 23rd, which is a Tuesday, the Cowboys leave Dallas and check in the Oxnard. They fly to Oxnard, check in at the hotel on Tuesday. No practice, though. On Wednesday next week, after checking in, on Wednesday they go through a physical to see who's going to be officially PUP list players. Maybe some are unknown yet, so they got to check them out. Yeah. But that's usually when they finalize.
Who gained weight, who lost weight, who needs what.
That's usually when they figure out who's the PUP players. And no practice. And then the 25th, which is the Thursday, next Thursday, guys, is the first official on the field. It's going to be just shells and shorts, no hitting, but the first official practice to ramp them up for the hitting, which probably will be the following week or after the weekend. So that's what our schedule is looking like, guys, for this upcoming training camp. But before I go there, let's hear from B-Bird, who dropped that 5 on it.
Woo.
Much love, B-Bird.
I appreciate you, B-Bird. He said, "We have to run the ball and stop the run. We are affected by the elements because we are a passing team. The run game isn't affected by the weather."
Great point. I mean, again, we
the
don't focus at all on the run.
Lesser on the run game.
The run, we don't focus on the run enough, in my opinion, to get us to the point where we need that December, January playoff kind of running game to help the offensive passing game, right? When we go pass, unless you're playing at home every game, and even that's not you can't always do that with teams in the playoffs. You don't establish a run game, you're going to screw yourself eventually. I'm not saying we have to focus it on full run game, attack, heavy run game. We just got to have some kind of semblance of a run game. Some play calling that favors the run game, something, right? Not just favoring only passing game, 90% of the time. And 10%, we get a little good running game here and there, but we don't have anything consistent or settled in. So, I agree 100% with B-Bird. He's 100% right on that. I see another one too, J. Lou Dollar Holler from Jet Lee 44. What did he have to say?
He said, "Check out the Cash App and go Cowboys."
Of course, always go Cowboys. I will be checking that out in a minute. Any thoughts on B-Bird's comment, baby?
I mean, again, I think one of the biggest detriments to that from last season that we've addressed, whether in a good or a bad way, that I'll leave that for everyone else to determine, but the offensive line moves will directly impact our run game. We, have, I think, secured the O-line for future run-proofness. Again, point is the blocking will improve, but we do still have to get past that, initial rookie situation. And it's not just the one rookie, it's two. So that absolutely will have an impact. I don't know how much we can expect this upcoming year, but I do think our future looks bright in that regard. So, and at that point, hopefully, we'll be able to just, take teams by storm with the intensity of our run game.
I mean, again, I don't want the intensity to go up on the run game. I want the run game to just be more. I just want it more of a factor. Just show me you can run the ball a little bit in a consistent way. If you run the ball great in 3 games, you're going to fucking fail in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So if we can run well in every game, consistent every game, not to be a run-heavy team, but if we can be consistent on the ground, 100% agree with you there, B-Bird. And yes, Mr. Jet Lee 44 dropping the $1.39 holler in the Cash App. And you know what he said? Go Cowboys!
Woo.
Much love to him, as he is second on that. Well, he's first on the board here, but overall, Lincoln Kane is still in the lead on the Cash App side. Big shout outs to Jet Lee 44, as he's gonna. I'll update the board after the stream tonight. I think he's going up to like 17th place now. I think so. Jet Lee moving on up as well. Appreciate you guys. Marco Seppian, 93 points on the stream, boss. And let me continue this training camp thing here, because this leads us to Stephen Jones in the finale here of the discussion tonight. But the Hall of Fame, first I want to say, talked about GMing and getting a Belichick guy in there. The Hall of Fame sends happy birthday wishes a couple days ago to a former Cowboy head coach, the great Jimmy Johnson. Remember, he was part of the Centennial class. That was 100 years of the NFL. Now he was inducted in 2020, and he turned 81 years old earlier this week. So happy birthday to Jimmy Johnson.
Of course.
Now, as far as Oxnard is concerned, in training camp, you're looking at the field there. I see some video up there. I'll probably post a little bit here, maybe tonight or tomorrow. Tomorrow. But the practice field for the Cowboys training camp in Oxnard is looking good, and the weather, upcoming training camp, is also going to be nice for the Cowboys there. It's currently 70 degrees and sunny with a breeze coming through. So really nice vibes out there in training camp. Remember, the Cowboys officially report on the 24th when they check in, even though they land on the 23rd. Now, I want us to ask a question real quick before I get to Stephen Jones' comments. Mm-hmm. Just a real quick kind of, it's almost, you guys don't have to answer it, but I'd like to know your thoughts, baby.
Of course.
I will be honest, in the 8 seasons of doing this, 7 years of doing this on YouTube, and maybe a little bit, I'd say after the Super Bowls, it was similar to this. When we got into like the late 90s and early 2000s, it's kind of like this. But I've never really seen Cowboy fans this apathetic. After this offseason, this disastrous offseason, 1 week from today, we'll be in full, training camp mode here, right? How excited are you for this training camp? Get the season underway. To me, as always, when we get close to the season, even if we're not sure what we're going to do, it's a lesser, ability than last year's, let's say, less players than last year. I'm still always a little more excited, But what do you think, baby? Are you way more excited than usual? Just a little excited than usual? The same general level of excitement entering this training camp? Less excited than usual, or a lot less excited than usual?
I would say a little more excited than usual.
Okay, explain.
Again, we have quite a few things to look forward to, but I'm also, again, realistic, right? Just kind of rolling back to my previous statement when it comes to some of the O-line situations, that to me right there, that's going to have a world of impact on how our offense ends up flowing. And that's kind of I would say the offense is a big factor in your football game. So
that's a good point.
there's
levels.
It's more that, and of course, the other side of it, not so much the player side, but the coaching side. You know,
Zimmer?
I'm very optimistic about Zimmer, but I also understand that outside of one or two players, you know, he's probably working with a lower level of talent than
At
he
this point,
is usually maybe used to from his last few years of coaching. So,
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, I agree. I think there's certain parts that are exciting.
yes.
I think the parts that are exciting are offensive line. See what you can do with maybe some of the coaching with Zimmer. I agree with you. Where is Micah going to line up at? You know, so I agree. You know, how is Trayvon Diggs going to bounce back? There's some definite excitement with some of this, but because of the Cowboys' lack of movement this offseason, I think myself and most of you guys out there probably a little less excited than usual. That's where I'm going to fall like that.
Yeah.
You know, really a little under the same as last year. You know, because last year there was much more excitement for the team as a whole, for the season over training camp.
Like I said, our expectations for this past season and how hard they crashed back down to earth. I mean, it's hard to really wrap your head around it, but yeah, we thought that this team could have... How do I put this?
Make a better run?
Basically, the path that the Lions ended up taking last season and how far they got and the things they accomplished...
So we
I think a lot of people thought that the Cowboys would have a season closer to that than whatever the fuck it is that we did. So
and while I agree, I think last year was more of an overall team excitement. Can we win a Super Bowl? I think this year the excitement for winning a Super Bowl is not there. That's why it's less.
Yeah.
I think it's more about the future of what our offensive line may look like. Who's gonna, how is the offensive line gonna do? Saying how will, the defensive mixture of Zimmer and getting Micah moved into different places, how is that going to work? And we're going to see different levels of Micah on the field. So there's some individual excitement for training camp. So I guess training camp, you can say a little excited about that. When it comes to the season, though, the excitement is definitely not there, I think, for Cowboy fans, generally speaking. Now, moving on from that. The Cowboys are going to report to training camp next week. We have currently still three roster spots open. We had a bunch of guys from the UFL we tried out like 2 times in a row, 2 weeks in a row. We only signed 2 guys. And, we released a guy here and there, and we have rookie defensive tackle Denzel Daxton, as I spoke about this 2 weeks ago, a month ago. He's officially counts as an international player. So that opened up an extra spot. So that instead of 2 open spots, we have 3 openings on our roster right now. Because remember, he grew up in the Bahamas. So he counts as an international player. 3 open spots on this team, and we have a week to go, less than a week to go. So that tells me the Cowboys have to make a move here and there to fill up their roster if they really want to get the most. We sign, a camp body here and there all the time. We ain't even signed camp bodies.
Yeah,
we signed UFL guys, which are camp bodies, but we still have 3 spots open. You got to fill this up with camp bodies. I don't know what the Cowboys' plans are, but it doesn't seem to ring very good to me right now. So, baby, I know you have all the quotes, because this is where we get to the quotes now.
Of course. Well, Asmodeus, by the way, sorry, I did want to hit up one of the comments. Asmodeus said, that's putting it mildly. MCF, we're sick, especially after the going all in statements.
Yeah, that's my point. Some of us are even more disillusioned with the Cowboys because of the all-in, because of the lack of doing anything all-in this year and the lack of free agent movement. Good draft, in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see, right? But I think it was a good draft and great and all that stuff, but we didn't help the rest of the team. The guys we lost, we didn't replace them. We replaced them with rookies or second, third-year guys that are unproven. So I know you have to eventually do that, but do we have to do it all in 1 year? Like, you do that for, 3 or 4 players every year, not 8 or 9 or 10 players this year. So that's why I am frustrated with this team. But yeah, like Asmodeus, for the season, sick of it. I don't know what to expect, but for the individual positions, some roster battles, some of our rookies hopefully showing up, some of the second or third year guys showing up, that's a positive going forward. But as an overall season, I'm with Asmodeus. It's sickening. Now, as we move on, I guess, some players did speak with Cowboy media. This is happening literally on the brink of leaving to Dallas. So a couple days ago, there was some Cowboy players that spoke, starting with Cooper Beebe, the rookie. We're going to talk about the rookie and 2 second-year players as well, very important guys. So rookie Cooper Beebe, 3rd-round pick, as we know in our draft. Hold on, let me bring up the draft guys here, the draft list. But here it is. There you go. And there's the numbers. We know Tyler Guyton's to start, going to hopefully try to be the starter at left tackle, although I'm hearing Chuma Adoga right now might be the official starter starting training camp. You got Nealon in the second round, and we got Cooper Beebe and Luafau as a linebacker in the third round. But Cooper Beebe is the guy that spoke. And basically, he was asked who's taking him under his wing this year.
So Cooper Beebe said, quote, Zach, Brock Hoffman, they're kind of the two guys that I've been working with the most. But really, everyone's been very helpful. It doesn't matter if they play center or not. They've just been super helpful to me. So
again, you're hearing Zach Martin, of course, and Brock Hoffman, who's right now the starter at center. TJ Bass might be trying to make a little move there. It's between Bass, Brock Hoffman, and Cooper Beebe. So we'll see what happens, but it's good to see even an undrafted rookie last year in Brock Hoffman helping out, and of course a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer like Zach Martin helping out. So that's the rookie check-in there. And what about last year's second-round pick, which we all call him a big-ass bust right now, right? Luke Schoonmaker. Luke Schoonmaker actually was talking about his second year of the Mike McCarthy play calling and on this offense. So what did he say about the play calling and the offense, baby?
Yeah, he's been doing it for a long time. And now I think having this second year of this offense with everybody, I think a lot of guys now feeling a lot more comfortable. And working on rhythm and timing and everything like that with Dak, Coach McCarthy just makes everything kind of feel more comfortable and confident when we're outside. More comfortable and confident when we're out there. He's got great ideas. It's just about executing them. That's what we work at every day, and that's what we're going to bring into this season.
Yeah, so
I just think it's interesting that Schoonmaker is almost implying that more of the mistakes are on the player side of things in some of these scenarios and not so much on the offensive play calling scenario.
So it's more about being comfortable with McCarthy's play calling.
Saying it, yeah, but he seems to be somewhat implying it by some of his comments.
Yeah, I think he's saying, I kind of agree, like the fact that he is saying that the players feel more comfortable, that's not on McCarthy. That's on the players, understanding it better. A second year under the belt. But also you could say McCarthy maybe had to take more time to break it down for the players to make it a little bit easier for them too, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a combination of things. Listen, when it comes to Schoonmaker, he better do something. Because he's injured again, it seems like, with that plantar fasciitis or whatever. He's got issues still, not being there and playing, not practicing in the OTAs and all this. I mean, he hasn't practiced. This is his second offseason. He has had no practice on that field. So training camp's going to be important. Last year in training camp, he was in a boot the whole training camp in Oxnard. I don't think he even played a snap. He didn't even run a play in Oxnard last year. So, again, Schoonmaker, I hear what he's saying. He's got to get better. I don't care about the play calling or the system and all that stuff. Luke Schoonmaker got to get over his injuries, and he's got to show me something more. Because a second-round pick, it's a blown fucking waste. So we'll see. Now, the last guy, the first pick of the draft for us, in the first-round pick for the Cowboys last season, Mazi Smith. And if you read my title, there is a very important thing he said, and it's about his diet and the way he's putting on the pounds, but in a healthier way, which is something that we never did last year. We made him take off the pounds. So, baby, give me the full encapsulation of what Mazi Smith said about this offseason and how it's been for him.
He said, quote, just getting back all the way to how I'm supposed to be. Putting everything back the right way, training the right way, eating the right things, all of that stuff that you're supposed to do.
That's very interesting, very important. We were asking, what are the differences that Mazi's doing this year compared to last year? Why did he obviously took off the weight, now he's putting it back on, and he said he's doing it the right way. Eating right, training
not
right.
Eating junk food and doing whatever.
Yeah,
not actually trying to gain it
the proper way. Yeah, so hopefully that will help. Also, hopefully help his get off. When the ball is snapped, hopefully he's faster off the line of scrimmage, because that's going to be the biggest issue for him. If he is that, I think the rest of him will be fine. But we have to hope he's faster off the line of scrimmage. That's major. Now that we got those guys kind of gave their 2 cents, the final speaker of the night and the guy we all hate the most on this Cowboy team, I think we all, even the Dak haters, you got to say, I just hate this fucking Stephen Jones guy. So Stephen Jones, guys, he spoke today as we're getting ready to go to training camp. This is probably the last time we hear from Stephen Jones until training camp. So very important what he said about contracts and about a bunch of things. So here's what Vice President Stephen Jones, he says he hears the Cowboys' gripes and issues with the way this offseason has been handled. I don't think he gives a shit. And he said he even agrees. You know, he agrees with the fans that it's been a rough offseason. He was on this show called, the podcast called Scoop City.
Okay.
And he shared more on Dak's deal, which you're going to talk about. Deals for CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. He also mentioned other things like he spoke about an 18-game season. And here's what he said. Because remember, he's part of the competition committee.
Yeah.
So they asked him, what about this 18-game season? And Stephen Jones said, quote, 18-game season is inevitable, end quote. So already, if you guys are wondering if we're going to get to 18 games one day soon, the answer is yes. I know we discussed this like a couple weeks ago about the good and bad and the possibilities. There were the owners are talking about it. It seems like the owners are going to try to get their way over the players on this, but it means they got to pay more money to the players, more per season, more per season because they're playing an extra game. They're getting their bodies beaten up. So it's going to take some time to work a deal out in the CBA with the NFL Players Association. But it sounds like from Stephen Jones's perspective, we're going to have 18 games sooner than later. So inevitable. Get ready for that. That's going to happen. And just an overall thought process, because Stephen Jones kind of starts it off with this, but he was, Dak Prescott, there's a word out there now that the Cowboys are currently, right now, having positive, I got to stress positive, conversations with Dak Prescott's agent, Todd France, as they're trying to get a new deal worked out for Dak Prescott. So, according to, multiple sources and Stephen Jones himself, the Cowboys are directly talking not just to his agent, but to Dak Prescott himself.
So that's actually a pretty big deal.
So that's a good step there. So, baby, give me more context and more definite, direct quotes from Stephen Jones about Dak Prescott and the rest of the contracts we have in front of us here needing to get done, hopefully before training camp starts. But basically, guys, the first thing he was asked about was, how do things stand with contract extensions for Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons? What does Stephen Jones say, baby?
Those things just take time when you're talking about the amount of money involved. And of course, we're trying to a little bit play Houdini and how to keep all these guys around Dak and keep these players we were fortunate enough to draft. When you start stacking them up like that, it's a challenge. It's not that it's not doable. But you certainly got to have some give and take if you want to do that. I know the Vikings did with Jefferson when they made that inordinate deal at the receiver spot. They don't have one player on their team other than Jefferson that makes over $20 million. Of course, we've got a big one in Dak, and we have Trayvon right there. You've got Zach Martin and D-Law. So we've got a lot of guys that make quite a bit of money. It's no excuses. We think we can get this done. I know we can get this done, but it just takes time.
Boy, that's a lot of time. What else did he say? I know he kept talking about this time frame thing.
Again, these things do take time, and we're talking about deals here. When you talk about CD and Dak and someone like a Micah coming up, you're talking about two players that aren't quarterbacks that feel like they ought to be a little bit like Jefferson, the top paid non-quarterbacks in the league.
Can you blame them? I don't blame them. They are top players that are non-quarterbacks in the league. Sorry, Steven.
Yeah, so he also went on to,
he talked about CD, CD and Micah, and then he finished with Dak.
Yeah, he said, and then, of course, you have Dak, who's obviously, who has his resume speak for himself. I think he was second in MVP voting last year.
He was.
He's just had an extraordinary career here in Dallas. Those things just take time when you're talking about the amount of money involved. And, of course, we're trying for a little bit play Houdini in... Let me see. So of course, we're trying a little bit to play Houdini and how to keep all of these guys around Dak and keep the players that we were fortunate enough to draft.
Yeah, and some of the issues that we're drafting good players. When you draft good players like Will McClay, thank you.
Again, it's a good problem to have, but again, I at least appreciate the fact that he acknowledged that, yes, it's tricky, yes, it's going to take a while, but it is doable.
Well, he said that.
I'm just saying, because before they would make a lot more general comments like, oh, we'll see, and the cap, and this and that. Like, I just appreciate the fact that he said, look, it's not going to be easy, but there is a solution here. We will find it. We will get it done, and then we're going to be good.
Unfortunately, in my mind, the solution to Stephen Jones is everyone takes a Dallas-friendly, team-friendly deal. That's bullshit. It's not going to happen. That's a fake goal in his head. That's delusional.
But, there's going to have to be some kind of compromise on the Cowboys side and players side both. We'll have to see what that looks like once we hear the contracts.
Here's my quick question, though, before we get to the next question that was asked to Stephen Jones. Since we do all our shit through the draft, and Will McClay does an unbelievably fantastic job for the most part in the draft, so you get CeeDee Lamb, and you get Tyler Smith, and you get Micah Parsons, and you get, of course you have Dak, and you have Trayvon Diggs, second rounder Trayvon Diggs, I'm just saying, like, when you have these guys, don't you have a plan to, like, how you're going to pay them if they all hit? Like, you want them to hit, so if they hit, what's your plan, Stephen Jones, on getting these guys paid or not? And you got to, they don't seem to get on the same page about these things until it's past the time to get these things done. Until it's too late to, like, think about it now. Now you're put to the Cowboys putting pressure on themselves because they waited so long on these key guys. These are not guys from other teams. These are guys we drafted. So Stephen Jones is saying, we got to figure out how to sign these guys we drafted. Well, you fucking drafted them. Shouldn't you, like, already have an idea what you're going to do if all these guys hit? Obviously, Stephen Jones. Obviously, Jerry Jones. Both these guys, well, you don't want to say. They're part of the fucking clown show. You know who's not part of the clown show? B-Bird, who dropped that 5 on it.
I appreciate you, B-Bird. Much love.
$5 a holla.
You know what he said?
Hit me with it as we see the clown show on the screen. What did he say, baby?
How did Philly sign Hurts,
Yep.
A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith over the last 2 years with no trouble?
Thank you.
And they only cost $33 million against the cap in 2024.
Because they're moving the money down the line, which we know is going to cause a little bit of an issue for the Eagles eventually. But they dealt with that already. They dealt with that with Carson Wentz, and they fixed that deal. They got back to the Super Bowl. That's because they have Howie Roseman as the GM. We don't have a Howie Roseman. The closest we have is Will McClay, who could be Howie Roseman. The only problem in my mind, the Joneses will never let him be Howie Roseman. It's always going to be Jerry Jones, the GM, and the second in charge, Stephen Jones. So to me, that's the reason. Great points. The Eagles and the Niners and these other teams, they get all their guys signed. But the Cowboys always having some kind of issue signing their guys. Bullshit. It's the clown show. That's the reason why. You can say Dak is this, boo, clown show. You can say what's with the defense, clown show. It might not be initially like connected to the clown show, meaning the front office, but eventually it trickles back to that. We see that every single time and every single year for the last 29 years. It's clown show. That's the answer. Unfortunately, that is the answer. So, So I know that Stephen Jones was asked some more things, and I hate to hear from Stephen Jones, but he talked more about the confidence level in getting a deal done with Dak Prescott, and if there's a deadline. What did Stephen Jones say?
The answer to that question is that we are optimistic we can get these guys done. I know Dak. Our goal is to get him done. He knows that, and we're having conversations with his agent, with Dak personally, both Jerry and myself. He knows our goal is to keep him here. He also understands the challenges. And you see what happens to teams when you do have these top-priced quarterbacks at some point. It's a challenge to keep everybody. Obviously, the Chiefs are an example of that, but they were able to survive not keeping Tyreek Hill and some of their other top players. I think they let one of the top corners in the league go after this season.
L'Jarius Sneed.
You have to make some tough choices along the way. But we're optimistic that we can do that. we'll continue to grind away on that. And I know that between fans and the media, that's your job to ask when, or, oh, but can you? And what happens if you don't? But our eyes are on the ball in terms of getting those things done. And we're not thinking about what happens if you don't. We're trying to get the job done.
You know who's getting the job done? Mr. Mark Hovsepian dropping that $2 holler in the house. And baby, with that drop, I think he jumps into 4th place now, from 5th to 4th. The man's moving on up. Much love to Mark Hovsepian. What did the man say with that $2 drop, the J. Lou $2 holler?
Because they have big balls. Buenos huevos.
Oh, boy.
Oh. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate you. Much love.
That's the reason why the Eagles and other teams, and they have Howie Rosemans, and we don't have those kind of GMs. They do. They got guys that know how to put together a goddamn team. We don't. By the way, Mark just jumped into 3rd place. My fault on that one, and I think he's one away from 2nd place.
Oh.
I think he's. Wait, I'm looking back here. Is there 2 from Mark?
I mean, he did drop a...
No, is there 2 drops? I don't know if
Well, he did drop another drop. It just hasn't come through
okay.
yet
Well, then
here.
I thought I saw it on my screen. I was like, I didn't see that comment read. Mark Hovsepian is now in 2nd place after this $2 holler drops. He's 2nd behind Lincoln Kane on the overall board. Much love to the man, Mark Hovsepian. What did he say with that second $2 holler, which has not hit yet, but will hit soon?
I'll date a non-binary person if you shut Jerry Jones up.
Well, luckily for you, Mark, it's Stephen Jones we're talking about. So,
Ooh.
you don't have to date any non-binary person. This is Stephen Jones, cap boy, cap asshole, the pie's a lie bullshit guy. Anyways, yeah. Got you, Mark. Appreciate you. And I agree with you. We have a front office that doesn't have balls and a front office that doesn't know how to run things. I'm going to kind of, I don't say answer, but kind of referring to Mark's comments based on the comments that Stephen Jones just said, that you just read. He said, number one, we're having conversations with Dak's agent. We're having conversations with Dak personally. And he, again, not just Stephen Jones, but also with Jerry Jones. So Jerry Jones is speaking with Dak, with Todd France. Stephen Jones is talking with Dak and Todd France. So, he then went out explaining, well, Mahomes is still in Kansas City, but they had to let Tyree go. They had to let this guy go. They had to let that guy go. And they only kept a couple of guys, and they survived it. Mm-hmm. Still won a Super Bowl. Do you know why they did this? The reason they did this was because they have good fucking GMing and good coaching. They have good GM. They have a good coach, a great coach. They have a good GM, and they know how to manage shit. They probably actually talk to their quarterback. They actually probably talk to their staff, their coach, and find out, hey, can we let this guy go and still survive? Do you think Stephen Jones or Jerry Jones talks to anybody on the team about this? You think they talk about any of the coaches about this? They don't go, fuck, it's their way or the highway. So you want to know why we keep failing? It's because of the fucking clown show. I hate doing this. It's our team. This fucking front office is disgraceful. It's disgracing the Star. Let me put it that way. So that, to me, is the reason that we keep failing. It's not because, the Chiefs have a good GM. They balance. They know who to get rid of and not because they got a guy specialist doing that. We don't. We got these schmucks. These two schmuck asses doing it. So anyway, I'll shut my mouth now. What else? Remember, Chase Daniel is on this Scoop City podcast where they interviewed Stephen Jones, but there was other people that were there with him, like Rossini. She asked and reiterated, how confident is Stephen Jones? Kind of like he sounded confident at the league meetings, and believed that Dak is the guy. She said it sounded like the same sentiment is still held in Dallas. And, so basically, how optimistic is Stephen Jones on getting this Dak deal done or any of these deals done? So what was the thoughts on that when it comes to Dak being the guy? What does Stephen Jones say when it comes to, that feeling the he had earlier this year.
Yeah.
And earlier last year, even last year, he had the same sentiment about Dak being the guy going forward.
Yeah, Stephen Jones said, quote, "I think at the end of the day, a lot of people want somewhat to be critical of the organization, of Jerry and myself, of McCarthy, of our team, and of course, Dak being the quarterback gets the brunt of it. You know that, Chase, of our successes in the playoffs. At the same time, you've got to certainly recognize that we've won 36 regular season games in 3 years, which, of course, we're playing 17 now. I think the Patriots maybe have done it in 16 games on a 3-year run. We're having a really great success in the regular season, and there's no question. I understand the criticism from our fans. I understand the criticism from media. We all understand that in terms of not winning and the big game in the playoffs, and we certainly got to take the next step. I know we could go out there and no one's assuming anything, and they have another great regular season, and no one's going to really give like, oh, hey, they're going to get it done this time. Until they see it, and then we understand that. We put ourselves in that position with our playoff winning percentage, and we do have to take that next step, but I certainly believe that we can do it."
Before we address that, let's address MyCowboysFamily. That's B-Bird's, right? B-Bird's comment and his drop and his thoughts on our Cowboys.
Thank you so much, B-Bird.
Yes, big
Appreciate
shout out.
you.
He's halfway up this board.
He said, "Our biggest issue is that the decision makers have no accountability because they cannot be fired.
Oh, agree.
Other teams' GMs are GMing for their livelihoods."
I mean, baby, you want to answer that? Because we've
Yes.
talked about that a lot, B-Bird.
It's very easy.
He's 100% correct, by the way, on that.
Yeah, it's very easy to sit back and basically be absolved of decision making when that decision really doesn't impact you unless you choose it or allow it.
Yeah, unless you decide to give somebody else a GMing role, you're the owner. So you don't have to worry about getting fired.
And you kind of said it there towards the end. We, like these other certain owners and GMs, like you can tell that they are, just in it for the money. And obviously, none of the owners are in this just because of the love of the game. But it just feels like Jerry has very, very truly forgotten that the point of football is to win the game. Like, I know for him, he sees it a little bit differently.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Listen, I'm with you, baby. And by the way, B-Bird, you're 10th on this board. You got Jet Li is 17. I fixed the board, so the board's good to go. But let me address both B-Bird's comment and then what Stephen Jones said. First, B-Bird, 100% agree. How many times have we said this, baby? That when the team, when the coaches, when they see the front office not being held accountable, right? I mean, Will McClay's the only guy that has been successful in my mind out of this three-headed monster of Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones. And then the best piece of that is Will McClay for the the drafting and the undrafted guys and the scouting side. They do a great job. But these guys still are too involved. The Joneses are still too involved. So when you see no accountability from Stephen Jones, when you see no accountability from Jerry Jones, when you see no accountability from the front office, Mike McCarthy is not getting punished for making mistakes and being a bad coach. He's still a coach. So there's no accountability going, he's fucked up. He's done great in the regular season in the last couple of years, but you can see he never had the team ready for the playoff games. The losses we had, he didn't have them ready.
Yeah.
So, but that's accountability. But, he's accountable, but only to a certain extent because the Joneses are allowing him off the hook. And they are allowed off the hook. Not by us, but by themselves, by their organization, by their jobs. So now McCarthy on his last year, and he's shitting bricks, but he had all this lack of accountability he didn't have to worry about. I'm not saying he was lazy about it, but it was more like the front office showing you don't have to really be accountable. So if that trickles down to the front office, to the coaches, to the players, you see what the problem is in Dallas. This is the problem. B-Bird is 100% right. And we've been saying that for years, right, baby, about the fact that they can't be fired. They have no accountability. So how is anybody else going to truly be feeling accountable the way the front office does? When you have a GM like Howie Roseman who's got to make it work no matter what, he makes it work because he's great at it. When you see us having to make it work, we shit the bed over and over and over again because there's no reason to have to worry about being bad. You might make $100,000 less this year for the organization. But in the end, we know the four pillars of this organization by Jerry and Stephen Jones. They do not involve winning. They involve competitiveness. That's all they need is to be competitive. That's what they said. They just want to be competitive enough so they can bring in the money. Everything else they can overcome in their mind, and they probably can. Because why? They're using that star over everything. They're using it. Anyways. Now, about Stephen Jones' comments here, and I don't know if you have any thoughts about his last comments, but basically, he's saying that, the Patriots right now, they're doing they're having these big, they had their runs, and the Chiefs are having their runs, and he understands the criticism from the fans. It kind of goes back to what B. Bird said. I don't have to repeat it again. The lack of accountability is what I think Stephen Jones is. It's going over his head. I mean, he's never had to be accountable for, so why should he even see it? Same thing we hear with Jerry Jones. So to me, guys, he believes we can do it, and all this positivity. But again, being a failed GM, part of the GMing system in Dallas for 29 years, I don't know where they're getting the positivity from, because I don't see it, and most of our fans, if not all of our fans, do not see it also. Now, the final part, guys, get your last comments in, because we're going to kind of say goodnight here after this. But the final comment or question that was asked, according to on the subject of Dak, CD, Micah, and all these contracts got to get done, to Stephen Jones today, right before going to training camp, Stephen Jones was also asked about the Cowboys' philosophy regarding contracts, kind of the behind the scenes when it comes to the pie and the franchise, the finances portion of things, and why the fuck he was asked, why the hell didn't you get these things done earlier?
Yeah, you didn't believe in the pie then?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Like, sometimes the pie and then no pie, and then you got the money, but you didn't think ahead for the money. I mean, it makes no sense. So why didn't they get these deals done earlier to save money? What's the behind the scenes with the finances? And what's the Cowboys' goddamn philosophy regarding contracts? Because we're at a loss. He was asked these 3 questions. What did Stephen Jones say?
We're just now to the point where we can do a CD and a Micah, and certainly want to see these things play out.
Hold on. CeeDee Lamb could have been done last year. Sorry, Stephen, you're lying. Stop it. You're lying, Stephen. Go ahead.
CD had his breakout year this year in terms of really having a mega year in terms of his numbers and his stats. And of course, Micah just became eligible. And of course, we've done a deal with Dak. After that, we've done Diggs, and we had him done early, but unfortunately, when you're paying these quarterbacks the kind of money that these teams are having to pay them, and it's not just a handful of them, I'm sure there's 12 to 16 guys that are making $40+ million. Then you're restricted to paying 5 or 6 guys, and believe me, it doesn't feel good to watch a Biadish leave the organization. It doesn't feel good to watch these guys that we've drafted and developed, and they played at a good level, walk away. But unfortunately, we can't do that. Now, the good news is we feel like we've done a good job of drafting again. And you can get the Tyler Guytons of the world, the Cooper Beebes of the world, and the Marshawn Nealons, who's a pass rusher. You've got to keep bringing these guys in, because that's where you get the relief under the cap, and is having your young guys play at a high level, and then play the right way.
And listen, I'm all agreeing with that, getting your guys in there, playing the right way. What happens when Tyler Guyton comes up in 4 years? Cooper Beebe comes up in 4 years. Mm-hmm. What happens with their deals? Are you going to start bitching about them getting paid too much again? You've got to redraft these guys and recycle them? That's fine. But they got to get their shit together, because it seems like every time it's another different philosophy change. And they're almost tripping over their own philosophies by the last philosophy they had, So, look, I understand what he's saying, but it's also an excuse. He's blaming Dak. He's blaming, again, other teams have quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, who's getting $52 million, and they're signing their guys. They're signing their receivers that from other teams they made, like A.J. Brown. They're signing their Devontae Smith draft picks. So this is an excuse from the Joneses once again, and that's why we call them, what do we call them, guys? You guys know what we call them, the fucking clown show. So in the end, Stephen Jones is, to me, is feeding us more kind of, there's some truths in there. Of course, there's some, you got to pay less. We got to let some guys go. But didn't we just do that? Didn't we let half the fucking team go? So what's the excuse about not signing these guys, Stephen? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't we signing the CeeDee Lamb's extensions and the Micah Parsons extensions if We let the Tyler Biadashes go. And he's talking about guys like Tyron Smith as well and others that we had to let go. Why do you think this is? Well, he might be thinking Dorrance Armstrong in his head. My point is, why would the Joneses said they let these guys go? We need to let guys go. We just let guys go. And we made no signings. So do you see how this looks like double talk? He's mixing in truths with bullshit. And trust me, we read through this for years, so you ain't fooling us. We just know it's happening, and it's very frustrating for me as a Cowboy fan and for all you guys as well. So any thoughts on that last kind of thought from Stephen Jones and his comments about basically there's not enough money to pay these guys?
The thing that frustrates me is more like you said. It's less about the money part because that's not necessarily anything new. It's more about his double, tripling down on the timing of some of these contracts, making it seem like the Cowboys are somehow so magnanimous, right? So kind and caring that they allowed all these people, to basically be part of the organization. I don't know. It still feels like very much he has that same mentality of you should be grateful to even be here. So, and on one hand, I get it a tiny bit, but on the other hand, like you said, why would anybody want to subject themselves to bad management?
Well, because if you're a mid-tier player, you might get overpaid by the Joneses. Outside of that, you're not going to get any star players here because these guys won't work or deal with them until they work them down to the nub. And then at that point, they still give in to the player. It just gives the player a headache, and it gives the fans a headache, and it gives the team a headache. As you're going to see, guys, with CeeDee Lamb, if we do not sign CeeDee Lamb before training camp, he's going to take the same hits that Zach Martin took last year when it comes to getting fined every day he misses camp. But CeeDee Lamb knows he's going to make $35 million somewhere.
Yeah.
So fine my ass for $1 million ain't nothing. So that's what it comes down to. The players, whether it was Zach Martin last year, CeeDee Lamb this year, they have all the leverage. So the timing is just an excuse the Joneses use to hope what? We have nuclear war? I don't fucking know. What are they waiting for? The more you wait, the more it will cost you. And they're lying about CeeDee Lamb because last year they could have got a deal done, but they decided not to. They didn't think he was going to have a good year with Brandon Cooks right next to him. You know what I'm saying? How can you not think that? But they thought that he was going to have an average year. I don't know what they were going to think, but they thought we were going to get him on a cheaper deal. And last year, if we had paid him $28 or $29 million, guess what? We wouldn't be talking about this right now. He'd be signed, overpaid last year, now underpaid this year. It would have been a great deal. That's what a good organization does. That's what the Eagles probably will try. Devontae Smith might be having a breakout year next year, but they signed him already. So, they paid a little bit more for him, but they got a guy they love. They drafted one of their guys, kind of like CeeDee Lamb, except, CeeDee Lamb hasn't been fucking extended yet. So, this is double talk and bullshit by the clown show. Stephen Jones in this case. But we know Jerry Jones also throws in the all-in bullshit too. And then we're left holding the bag, wiping our teary eyes because of these two schmucks that are ruining and have ruined this organization when it comes to, being consistent at being champions. Being consistent at being great.
Yeah,
not
we're
good enough.
We're consistent at staying competitive.
Yeah, we're good.
I will give the Joneses that credit.
We are great.
We're always in the mix somehow.
Yeah, we're great at staying pretty good. Okay. We're great at that. We're not great at being great. That's the front office.
That is right, Thomas Garrett, who, by the way, is the superior.
Superior Garrett. Hell yeah. So that's a wrap here. Give us some last comments here as we get on out of here.
Final comments / shout outs here. So before we get to that, don't forget, guys, you got to hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. Of course, hop the Discord, link for that's in the description box down below. And for the After Dark brethren, that's a different situation there. But let me keep rolling here.
I do also want to shout out, though, the sponsor of the week and the Cash App King. I know my guy in there, Godless Manitoba, might not be too happy, but Lincoln Kane, back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys, sponsor of the week for 2 weeks, and the Cash App King for 2 weeks in a row. In the lead this week, once again, Lincoln Kane in first place, and the sponsor of the week and the cat. He's going for a three-peat, something our Cowboys should have done. Mark Hovsepian holding it down, still holding it down in that green with 87 points. basically a Ferguson, a Jake Ferguson right there for you. 87 points on the stream, boss. And if you're looking at the gifting membership board, still giving a big shout out to Jet Lee 44, who's holding it down until we get a winner out of the two guys or anybody out there who drops 2 gifted memberships. You are the champion. Or if Brandon J or Skeptical Fan drop and gift 1 membership, they automatically win. So we'll see who may be taking the championship or the crown away from Jet Lee. Jet Li drops 2 gifted memberships, and he's the winner again, and that'd make it 9 out of 10 weeks. But we still have no winner there. We have a tie, so we're still waiting to see who the winner is for this week and next week, because it's going to be a 2-week segment here going into training camp. So gifted memberships still up for grabs. The next person that drops a gifted membership will win it when it comes to between Brandon James and Skeptical Fan. And anybody else that drops 2 of them will be the winner immediately, the champions. Just want to clarify that. So, and I was going to say that's actually I think I covered everything. That's the leaders right there and the people repping that board. So yeah, do some shout outs as we're wrapping it up. And hey, we'll get you another one I think on Sunday here at My Cowboys Family. We'll kind of wrap up a half week, and then we'll get the training camp rolling next week, because it kicks off, guys. 23rd, 24th, 25th, training camp, baby. It's on.
So Revelation journalist said all lies are fertilized by bullshit, Jerry and Steven.
Yeah, or AKA, right? We also call that the round. Oh, shit. Fuego is a member here. Did he jump in? Oh, Jet Li gifted a membership. We have a 3-way tie for the championship right now. Much love to Jet Li gifting a membership. Congrats to El Fuego, or I say Fuego now, right? Mm-hmm. Who got that membership. Drop them if you got them. We're changing those emojis around a lot more now in more recent terms. I just wanted to give a shout out to that fertilization by bullshit, Jerry and Steven. There you go. It's the clown show. That's why. And big shout outs to Jason Renfro, who currently is in a 3-way tie with Skeptical Fan and Brandon J for the top of the gifting membership board. If any of those 3 guys I just mentioned drop another gifted membership, they're the champion. That's the way. Oh, it looks like we have a champion. It's Jet Li. Much love to Mr. a.k.a. Jason Renfro, but Jet Li in the house dropping his 2nd gifted membership. And guess what happens with that, baby? Boom. He is the winner once again.
He's victorious.
Victorious for 9 out of 10 weeks as the king of, the king of the membership gifting board. And that's one of the best ways to help the channel. So again, big shout outs, big thanks. I was going to say, you put the exclamation point. It's trying to show people how to drop it in there, but we got our champion. Now we got a new week now. It starts right now, a new week. We're at 0. And we're going to take this till next Sunday. We'll have a champion by then. So big shout outs to Jet Li 44. Appreciate you. No leader now. We don't have a leader on the gifting board anymore.
Yeah.
Because Jet Li is the champion once again. 9 out of 10 weeks. That is complete and total domination. Hopefully our Cowboys can be like that in the regular season and the playoffs and the Super Bowl and get that 6 to tie real shitty Pittsburgh Steelers and on the road to 7 and beyond, right? That's the hope. That is the hope here for us. So again, big shout out to Jet Li 44. I will update the board after this stream ends. So tomorrow or on Sunday when we go live again, you'll see everybody in, the gifting board will be reset, and Jet Li will be up a little bit more on this, leaderboard. Definitely moving up on the leaderboard as well. So, continue, baby. I'm sorry. I just wanted to shout them out before we moved it on to a couple last comments and shout outs as we get on out of here for the night. 2.5 hour stream.
Let me see. Revelation journalist, again, appreciate you. Have a great night as well. Of course, the man Jet Li 44.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to you. Scorpio representing. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Fuego bringing the heat, of course. You also have a great night. We have Godless Manitoban.
And congrats on that membership.
He's ready for the dark of the night.
Oh, the possible after dark sessions. Yes. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. If I do, it'll be a small one.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to be right away, so it's going to be extra late.
Stay tuned. But yeah, Thomas Garrett, the superior Garrett, saying, damn schmucks. Of course, it's Modius, much love, saying, Dak may as well be a commode because everyone's pinching turds on him.
I guess you could say that, but it's not his fault. Most of the time, it's actually, I don't think it's his fault as much as it is the others around him, like the front fucking office.
Yeah. Tom Cook, take it easy.
Yeah.
B Bird, of course. Much love.
Yeah, he's right up this board, 10th place on this board. Just like that.
Big mahalo to the man Marco Seppian.
Hell yeah.
Mr. Kima saying Cowboys issues, they're paying too much dead money from writing bad contracts thanks to Stephen Jones.
Very good point, too. We've made that comment, whether it's Jalen Smith or Ezekiel Elliott, we're still paying those shitty contracts. Well, we're letting other contracts just slip away on players that are definitely worth it.
Jay Duncan, take it easy. He said maybe if the Joneses slow down on the whiskey, they could get the deal done.
Agreed. There's nothing else to say but a big agree on that one.
See, just want to make sure I'm going back.
I should rephrase myself there. Jet Li, with those two drops, they're actually in 10th place. B-Bird's in 11th. So I just said B-Bird's top 10. He went to 11th because Jet Li just jumped him. But if the battle ensues and continues into the end of this week and into next week, you crown some champions.
Yeah. GM, take it easy. Have a great night. Mr. Seabass, of course. Much love to you.
Oh, and we got Marco Seppian dropping another 5 on it.
Woo!
Trying to get to the top spot. What did the man say?
He said, they said that Jerry Jones does not have anyone to answer to. He doesn't get sick of a 30-year drought doing the same shit every year and fans hating them?
It's frustration at its finest.
Clowns,
and more clowns. Nothing else to say. I mean, they're fucking clowns. What can you do? Agreed, Mark. And our frustration is as bad as, is right there with yours. It just really sucks. And I can only hope that, I know real shit's in the chat, so we can beat the Steelers, at least make us a little happy. But obviously for us to have real, true happiness, we will need our Cowboys to
we need a Super Bowl.
Succeed. Yeah, there's not enough. So, yeah.
But with that said, like we said, guys, again, huge shout out to everybody here chilling, hanging with us. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. But there is a very, very, very important reason why we do the things that we do here on the MCF side of things.
Let them know, baby.
It's that navy blue.
Hell yeah.
That silver, too.
You know it.
And that star over everything.
Damn right. And as well, here on MCF, My Cowboys Family, guys, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly, here on this channel, when there's some news flowing, which has been really recent, really little this offseason, we'll be live talking about it here, almost on the nightly. So thank you guys on that side here on MCF, which, by the way, on My Cowboys Family for 7 years. Now we're in our 8th year. Like Aikman and Lamar Jackson suing each other. But in our 8th year here on YouTube, here with My Cowboys Family. Never forget the number one thing here now and forever. As always, go Cowboys. We got to get that 6 and beyond. I don't know about this year. We got to get it sooner or later. I won't be around for it anymore. I won't be around. So, again, we'll see how that works. Hopefully, we can pull out a 6th. This year, though, I don't know. May see some of you guys on the After Dark session. I don't know if it's going to be on channel, the OG channel, the MCF After Dark original channel, or the MCF After Dark Part 2 channel. But if you're subbed up to both of them, and you'll know, if we go live tonight, you'll see us. Hey, one of our After Dark homies in the house. The man SCO971 dropped that 5 on it. Which, by the way, I was playing the Eminem album, the new one. Fantastic. So far, I'll give you more of my thoughts on that on the After Dark. But out of the 8 or 9 songs we already heard, I think other than 2 of them, I was 2 of them were like average. The rest were way above average. So I was actually very surprised how good the album is so far. If we go live tonight, I may do the other half of the album. If I can get through the other drama going on, we'll do our best. But much love to SCO971. He's a huge Eminem fan.
Thank you, SCO. Appreciate you.
Appreciate him. He's won it a couple times here. You know it. And now he's on the board on the After Dark. I'm sorry, not on the MCF, My Cowboys Family time frame. So big shout out to you. Salute to My Cowboys Family. I appreciate you, bro. And some of you guys we'll see on the After Dark. Maybe tonight, definitely tomorrow night at the latest. So if we don't go live tomorrow here, we'll be definitely live on After Dark. So keep that, on notice if you guys like the late night fun. And we might even have the wife with a surprise tomorrow. We'll see what happens if she comes on to the After Dark sessions. Big shout out to SCO. Big shout out to everybody in the house. Any other people speaking, baby, in there that we need to shout out, or are we good to go? I think we got everyone done, right?
See, Dave Brown, take it easy. Ramesh, thanks for hanging with us. But yeah, I think that's everybody here.
Yeah, I mean, we got Ramesh and Dave Brown.
One last thing to do.
Yeah, Dave Brown and Ramesh, you know. They're the After Dark fam right there. So big shout outs on that side of things as well. Updated the board and everything is complete and updated. Thank you guys. And as we wrap this up here and maybe do some After Dark, talked about the drops of love from above. Guys, you can't do this without your love and support. Cannot do this without your drops of knowledge and information in the chat. The back and forth, that's what it's about. But as we clock out and drop out for the night on this channel and relock and reload, whether it's After Dark or for Sunday, we're back on this thing. We'll be talking Cowboys. You know how we do this. We love our Cowboys. But never forget, guys, here through it all, clocking out, dropping out, relocking and reloading for another show ahead of you guys, whether it's tomorrow or Sunday. Never forget, before we can drop out of here for the night, baby, tell them what we got to do before we drop out of here.
We got to drop. The beat.
I made him wait it out a little bit. The beat's been dropped on a 2.5 hour My Cowboys Family live stream, guys. Thank you for sticking it through with us and giving us your thoughts, your comments, dropping some help, some love from above, some support. Appreciate you all. Drop them if you got them, like the wife just did. Hey, and welcome to the new people joining the crew here. Melissa, Amin, welcome in. And go Cowboys. Again, guys, can't do this without your guys' love and support, your thoughts. So thank you for that. You could be anywhere right now. You're here chilling with us, talking some Cowboy football, extra late night hours, as we always do. So, hey, you know what that means? Big time shout outs to everybody in the house, chilling with all the news, info, and updates on our Dallas Cowboys here at MCF for another Cowboys chat, baby. You know it. And yes, Micah, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, their contracts. Stephen Jones, a lot of bullshit today. Trayvon Diggs and his injury. And, you know, we got a little update on that. Also, his rankings kind of disappointing by the rest of the league on him. And then a little Mike McCarthy, little scattering of Mike McCarthy head coaching thoughts there, too. Bill Belichick and other things. Check it out if you missed it. Watch the replay on double speed. Either way, here at MCF, we're done for the night here on this channel. Yes, you know what My Cowboys Family is all about? That navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything. Never, ever forget the number one thing right here, My Cowboys Family. Much love to all of you in the house. Can't do this without you all. Don't forget to hit that like button for the stream. Right now, hit that like. Hit subscribe if you're new. Keep growing the channel, almost at 40,000 subscribers. And hit that notification bell to all videos so you know when we're going live. It will be on the nightly pretty much all year long, so keep that going, all football season long. Also, you can jump in the Discord, My Cowboys Family. The information is in the description. We also got, different ways of following us on Twitter or X at My Cowboys Family. Outside of that, guys, stay safe. Much love to all. We'll see you soon. Peace, and never ever forget, go Cowboys!